Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Right side to Wilson, centered up. Ovechkin has it, he scores! He scores! Alex Ovechkin scores 895! There's a new goal-scoring champion, and his name is Alexander Ovechkin! He has done it here on Long Island. His teammates mob him. There is but one. Alexander the Great, the greatest to ever do it in National Hockey League history. Knocked away by Chinyalu. Pettiford never got the shot off. Martin. Oh, Martin with a signature slam. Sent it in. Big fella. What a challenge at the rim. The toss in by James. Floated upstairs, knocked away, played by Sharp. Wilson goes back, he fires. No good, slammed down. It's Tyler.
Listen to the crowd here in the background. Nebraska with the crown here. They grab the crown, and if the crown fits, wear it, my boys. There's the horn, there's the game. Husker Hoops, college basketball's royalty, wins the crown over UCF. Final score, Huskers 77, UCF 66. And it's a championship at the end of the year because there will be only two teams, actually three, who end the year with a win. And the NCAA, the Crown, and the NIT, and Nebraska's one of them.
Good morning. Welcome in. Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. What's up, DB?
How are things?
Oh, we're doing all right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Doing all right.
I will say, if Jim Nantz was calling the crown, he definitely would have said something about a crowning achievement.
Yeah,
right?
he's too busy. He's too busy riding with the Houstonians.
You know what's funny?
That's his I mean, that's his people's.
So when my sister went to University of Houston.
Yeah.
So did my brother-in-law. That's where they met. Jim Nantz gave their commencement speech. I was there, and it was very strange. I was like, what's Jim Nantz doing here? Apparently went to Houston. Big Houston guy.
Yeah, huge Houston guy. So weekend was
Yeah.
Yeah.
That good, huh?
Yeah. Stellar.
A lot going on.
Stellar for your boy. But it was such a crazy weekend because I was getting teased. I was thinking, Nebraska could get the sweep, which amazingly for where it ranked was high on my thought process because they got to get it going.
I was in desperation mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They ended up getting 2 out of 3, and that is what it is.
It helps.
But, I found myself, I was going to say defending myself a ton, but defending Nebraska's opportunity to win the crown a handful of times. And I'm surprised that I had to go there with people about its significance.
What was the argument against?
Just kind of shrugging it off.
Oh.
And I'm thinking to myself, I have to be careful because I do think some of these people actually competed, but I can't tell. Because anytime you take the court, the ice, the pitch, the field, whatever, you're not doing any of it to get by.
Yeah.
Not real competitors, right? They just aren't. So I don't care if it's the NIT, the CBI, the Crown, the NCAA tournament. Like, you're trying to win. And what I think people don't understand that drives me crazy, and this is the player, the coach, certainly the father. Don't get your little behind out there if you're going to waste your time. I don't care who it is.
Sure.
Right?
But people do that.
No, listen, I understand.
So I think that's where it's hard sometimes because we've seen high-level athletes in this situation not be competitive.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like sometimes you don't know.
Yeah. So can we? So I'm gonna land the plane for you. So with regards to Nebraska, this is what we said about them.
That they're fighters.
They don't like each other, or I can't believe that they would come out here like this, or how do you not have a sense of urgency, or now we're questioning their effort, and it's like they basically answered all those questions, every last one of them. take a month off, especially with all that disappointment they have, and rally the troops and come out and play 2 crap first halves.
Still come back and win.
And then
a crap start of a second half yesterday.
And rally like a son of a gun.
Yeah.
You went from up 9 to down 12 before you even got the napkin to finish the wing sauce that you got during half. And I, it's like I tell people, you've heard me say this before, like never apologize for winning.
Yeah, no matter what it is.
Yeah, take your 300,000. You've added a couple portal additions. You have a little bit of momentum. You're going to probably announce a hire here shortly.
Yeah.
Like, write it. Don't apologize for it. Keep it pushing. Like my man Mike Tomlin would say, Shane, pressing.
That was a good one. That was a good Tomlin.
Oh, man. But your boys had to do a little pressing this week.
Pressing.
Yeah, I got
leg otherwise.
Man, listen.
Shoulder.
Mental exercises.
Yeah.
Hurdles, if you will.
Yeah.
So it's like, I
don't
know.
It's better than the alternative, right? Because even if it had gone the other way, we'd be complaining.
That's what I'm saying.
The other way.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
And I hate that.
Yeah.
Like you
get to pick a side.
I just hate playing I'm just not a both.
You can't play the results.
I don't like that.
Right? Either the narrative is what it is, or you're playing the results.
I don't like that at all.
I will say, I felt like we did a good job pushing back against that narrative of they don't like each other. I think and this sounds harsh, I don't mean it to be. I think all the issues we saw with Nebraska basketball over the course of the year is they just weren't quite good enough.
Yeah.
Right? And that's
I 100% agree with you.
They were close. They just weren't quite good enough. They don't like each other. It wasn't an effort thing, because you don't continue to rally from getting your head beat in one half or another and not like each other very much or not be trying very hard, right? If teams that don't try very hard or that have quit, when they get down 14 or 19 or whatever it is, they fold. They lose by 30.
Yeah.
Like that's what bad teams do, at least bad teams in terms of culture. This isn't that. They just weren't quite good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for me, it wasn't watching the Crown unfold over the last 2 weeks or whatever. It's been a week and a half. It's just been frustrating, right? That there was a level that we didn't see at the end of the season. Like it was more frustrating than.
You're talking about playing with, so people will say confidence. I hear the word confidence a ton. Oh, they playing with some confidence. You know what for me it is?
What's that?
They actually played with some joy.
Sure.
Joy.
It's different.
Which is vastly different than happiness.
And different than confidence.
Okay. Because, and I've said this before, and I think whether it's life or sports or your job, whatever, happiness stems from what's happening. And that's almost an impossible feat. It is day to day. It is a total crapshoot.
Mm-hmm.
It's based on circumstances, your environments, literally what's happening. That's happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Joy comes from enjoying the process while you're focused on the results, but you're doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Right? You're just other-centered like that. Like that's joy. And when you can play or participate or work or be friends and have joy,
mm-hmm.
It's a game changer. It looks different. It feels different. It is like the anti-oppression that we felt like we saw Nebraska's secondary playing with a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, bad. They look slow. They look sluggish. Hey, man, they're not having any fun.
Yeah.
Right? There's no joy.
And that can come from a lot of things.
Yeah. I'm not going to psychoanalyze that, but I'm just saying
there's
like
a wide range of options.
Yeah, so, I mean, did you see the hugs and the embraces and the high fives and the bench having fun? It's not necessary. Winning is a byproduct of having a certain mindset to even get your little rear ends in position to play for something meaningful.
Yeah.
And they didn't let, which is what I'm probably most excited about, they didn't let what people thought or the conditions that surrounded them, they didn't let that dictate their behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't let that dictate their behavior. And so, like for me, it's like on a super personal level, because that's the goal. That's the end game for me to function as a person, right? Don't let the environment dictate my behavior, right? So when you watch them play that way, and it's like, oh man, maybe I should have listened to Coach Hoiberg when he said all year, I like this team.
Yeah.
I like this team. I enjoy coaching this team. I like these guys. I want to play in one more tournament. Yeah, we're playing. He never once wavered.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he was telling the truth. And I'm not saying it washes away the warts, but
it washes away the warts that were largely thought of.
And I can't stand being a prisoner of past performance.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to shake it off because you can't go back and get it.
Yeah.
So
you got to move on one way or another.
Like my man Mike Tomlin.
Keep pressing.
Right? You can't go back, but so often, like we let it define us.
Yeah, become a prisoner of it.
Yeah. And I'm just like,
one loss makes you lose twice or 3 times.
Yeah, and it's, and it's the crowd. I mean, did you see the crowd? Like, Nebraska traveled.
Yeah.
Good on you. No, it's Vegas.
Yeah, it's easy sell.
On a weekend.
Easier sell.
Yeah. I'm guessing Dylan probably rode with T. Dizzle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they were together. I'd assume it was a Dan and Dylan thing.
Just got a little hitchhike, put the thumb out.
You never know. Listen, I can't talk. I've a couple of times I had to catch a ride to catch a plane to get to a game on time.
Hey, we gotta go.
So you think I'm in my glassy house gonna throw stones? Nope.
I will say the only thing I would define that happiness versus joy a little differently from like my perspective, and that is like when you're playing with joy, you're internally validated.
Yeah.
That's where I care. Like you're validated.
I mean, that's a natural byproduct, right?
Yeah. Whereas happiness is external validation.
Yeah.
It's nice to have. It's extra. But if that's what you live and die by,
I'll ride with that.
You're in deep trouble.
I'll ride with that.
And that's for people too. That's not just basketball teams. Like if you're internally validated, you're going to be in pretty good shape.
I'll ride with that.
More often than not.
You just have to be very careful on the balance between who needs and how often you need to fill that cup. Because Lord knows.
Yeah.
You got to be careful.
For sure. For sure.
And
it's so it is. I mean, I was happy to see him, and I don't know, even if you saw him at like the podium after the win, like
I just watched him on the bench.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're Gavin Griffiths, what in the world are you happy about?
Yeah, this was a terrible year for you.
But he was.
Nothing went right for you at all.
Right.
This was a disaster for Gavin Griffiths specifically. And you're right. He was as happy as excited as Connor Essegian, who was going off. Right. Which I do feel good for Connor. I feel good for Essegian.
Me too. He's for all intents and purposes, he seems like a really good kid.
Yeah.
I watch his mom sometimes on social media, and I can see where, you of course stereotype, right? So I see the over, like she's a big "that's my baby, that's my boy" guy.
Oh yeah,
sure. Like, so you you draw some parallels in terms of the behaviors in the day. I mean, big, that's my baby, that's my boy. So it's good to see him to play that way.
Yeah, it was good to see him flourish. And I appreciate, I said this last week after he had his good opener after the 0-for-11 against Iowa. I appreciate people that kind of have a chance to have their moment.
Yeah.
Right? That have a chance that after – and that can endure a little bit, right? Like he kind of went through it at times this year, was super streaky, was maybe at his worst when they needed him the most against Iowa there, but was able to bounce back and have a really nice tournament here in the Crown. So I was really happy for Connor. I was happy for Fred too. Like I still don't know long-term, like fit-wise, if he's the guy that's going to get Nebraska to the next level, but I do like him a lot.
Yeah.
And I think the way he represents the program. I like the way that the guys tend to rally around him. Those are all different things though, right? Fit.
In terms of being mutual
they can
exclusivity.
Be exclusive, you can be a great guy and not be a great fit.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know if that's true or not.
I do. It's true.
No, I mean, I don't know if that's true for Fred or not.
Yeah, I understand that. You have to help me with the televisions, though.
I will. Yeah, we'll get that.
No. It's good practice.
Yeah,
practice You see, we're just free flowing right now because this is the open.
Mm-hmm.
So you can practice compartmentalizing. So you can grab the iPad and you can talk to me and see.
Oh, it's out here already. That I didn't realize it was.
And
already
see
out
if you
here.
could. You can.
We're gonna give it a go.
Do you want to practice?
Yeah, we're gonna give it a go.
All right.
We're gonna practice here.
All right. Don't break the cadence. Don't break the speech. Let me ask you. I'll lob you a softball.
Yeah, I like softball.
Did you Yeah, me too. Did you have anything good to eat this weekend?
Yes,
So
I
you
did.
stopped.
I paused. I was trying to remember what I ate this weekend.
Lord have mercy.
So it was Natasha's birthday.
Oh yeah, and you were trying to pick. So you took it down to the wire, huh?
A little bit. So I had told you the guy that the restaurant that we like to go to for like occasions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that we really like there that kind of runs the place had another event, so he wasn't going to be there.
Oh.
So that was a little bit
Oh
of
no.
that was all right, Cam Bam. That was a little bit of a bummer for us, so we couldn't go to her favorite spot. But I did kind of surprise her.
You aren't getting free vats of wine?
Not vats.
Hey, this vintage stuff from 1896, no one's going to drink it. Yeah, you guys take this home.
1892 Columbus sailing the ocean blue. No, the
18s. He was long dead and fictionalized by then.
Oh yeah, 1492,
Yeah,
not 1892.
400 years of lies in between there.
We missed just a little bit.
Yeah,
Don't worry about
see,
it.
look, you did it.
Kept on pressing.
Did you see what you pulled off?
I tried to, I was trying to keep.
Not bad.
Just try to keep on going.
See baby steps. I made you feel warm and welcomed and easy going. The results were going to be what they were.
Exactly.
You knocked it out.
We, trust the process.
Joy.
But no, I had nothing crazy good food wise, but it was very solid. A lot of solid doubles in the gaps, like the Red Sox yesterday.
Yeah.
I think they had 12.
So
they had like 12 doubles yesterday.
I got it. Okay. Speaking of softballs, when will you let yourself feel like? How long will you wait before you have any hot baseball takes?
I feel.
Are you a June 1 guy? Are you the All-Star break?
Oh
Are
no,
you before that?
So it depends on who it is. With the Red Sox, I've already had a couple.
Yeah.
I'm back and forth already. Like they're 1-4, and I'm like, oh God, not again. And I'm back in already, baby. I'm all the way in. I feel good about this team. I've gotten to watch them a couple more times too, and I kind of like the lineup. I like some of the dudes, so I'm excited about the Red Sox. Everybody else, I'll probably give it May 1 at least.
Yeah.
Get like 25, 30 games under the belt, see what's going on. But I have enjoyed watching the Red Sox a couple times.
Yeah. I'm just telling you, as a Dodgers fan, I'm miserable.
Well,
second
your boy Snell just went on the IL.
Second place, 11 games in. Fudge. I have 9 wins, and they're in second place.
I think you're going to be okay.
No, that division's a mother, though.
It really is.
It's
like if San Diego is going to actually be good, like that's tough.
And I think everybody, with the exception of the Rockies, is a good baseball team.
Yeah, Diamondbacks are good,
and we know that I think the Giants are good.
Yeah, I haven't decided on the Giants yet, but they're functional at least. They're not the Rockies.
I mean, their pedigree is
for sure.
Yeah.
No, I don't have any hot takes for anybody.
And it's an odd year,
so
I'm sure the Giants will rear their ugly heads.
I thought it was even years.
Are they odd or evens?
They're evens because it was like 10, 12, 14.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
But no, I
when your man Bocce Ball had taken over for the other old guy who was one of my favorite namesakes of all time, and Roger Craig. I was like, no, this Bocce guy. Is this guy really going to win there?
Bruce?
Fudge, I guess he is.
Wait, who was the Roger Craig one?
Roger Craig was who Bocce took over for. Roger Craig used to manage the Giants.
Oh, I missed him in there between Dusty Baker and
Old
Bruce Bocce.
Old head. Yeah, so you're right. Baker was after Roger Craig.
Oh, okay.
Well, how could I forget the wristbands? But as a Dodger fan, I was never a Dusty guy.
Yeah?
Yeah. Not a Dusty guy. Man,
not like Kevin Durant out there.
Man, you Dusty. I have been Dusty. Apparently, I ran into something hard this weekend.
Yeah.
I have a knot on my shin the size of like my elbow.
That's not good.
Yeah. Wish I could remember what it was.
Happens a lot. Maybe you're sleepwalking or something.
Sure. Sure. Let's go with that. It sounds better.
Speaking of sports, we don't talk about very much. Your guy, Alex Ovechkin.
No, not my guy.
You love that guy.
I appreciate him.
So that's what I was going to ask. I was going to ask where you were on Ovechkin.
Man, listen.
Because he seems polarizing.
I've had some monumental on-air meltdowns.
About Ovi?
He's laughing. You already know where I'm going with this. So this is early. This is 12, 13, 14, 15.
It's like a full decade into Ovechkin's career.
Where I'm arguing during hockey about Crosby versus Ovechkin, who I would take on my roster.
Yeah, I always kind of leaned Crosby a little bit.
You should, because you're smart.
And he was, I mean, his peak was better, right?
You should because you're smart.
Like he was just better.
And I would get some pushback because I'm not. I mean, Ovechkin has some. He has some KD to him.
Mm.
He makes it look so easy, and he's good for so long.
Yeah.
That we probably don't appreciate him the way we should. Like I think much more of KD than you do. His numbers are incredible.
So
as a scorer.
Yes,
and his efficiency from the floor and his field goal percentage. And look how many years in a row K Dizzle has shot 50%.
It's a good run.
In a row.
It's a good run. So here's what I'll say about
which reminds me a lot of Ovi.
Sure.
And the amount of times
sustained excellence.
Yeah.
Right.
So we kind of get a little spoiled. But I will say this. Because they said that there was going to be like a 10-minute break.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was multiplied by 4.
Because it was a minute.
Because while I'm in my fields pouting, I'm changing channels. I'm coming back. I'm like, this game still hasn't resumed?
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing?
Right? 46 seconds was the amount of time between when he scored the goal and that they let the crowd go. I think it was the longest I've heard that.
Yeah, just let him lay out.
Just laying out, yeah.
Yeah.
14 seasons in a row.
In a row.
Yeah.
In a row.
The year right before that, he was at 49.6.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
It's not bad at all. So,
I get
like
the
efficiency in which what he does, sometimes you get a little spoiled. And I'm not a Caps guy, so I had to get over
that part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But great player. I mean, no question. Not as well-rounded, but he is what he is.
Yeah.
I mean, my man is a goal-scoring machine.
Yeah.
But that was a record that I thought was fairly safe.
So that's what I was going to
I thought that record was fairly safe.
Because as I'm growing up, it was obviously I wasn't or haven't been nearly as into hockey as you have. But like that's one of those when I was a kid, I would read everything sports related, right? So hockey, baseball, basketball, whatever. Obviously football as well. But the Wayne Gretzky thing felt untouchable. Both the total points and goals scored and obviously assists as well, which probably actually is untouchable, right? But that was just one of those records. It was Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hit streak. It was Cal Ripken's consecutive game streak. It was, I'm trying to remember some other ones off the top of my head. But even like Kareem at a certain point felt untouchable.
Yeah.
And then you throw Gretzky in there with what he did. So to actually see it happen, I don't want to say like it wasn't emotional, but like there was sort of like a stirring of, oh, this is pretty cool.
Like echoes?
Yeah, like some
not bad movie reference. You won't. That's not gonna be a Ravi movie.
No.
Have you ever seen Stir of Echoes?
No.
Yeah.
Unfamiliar.
It's a tough movie.
Very un-Ravi like.
If Shane says it's tough.
No, it is. It's not. It's not exactly what I would call pleasant.
Yeah, I would imagine you watch a lot of unpleasant movies.
Gotta feed the soul.
Yeah, feed it with some joyful movies. Go find something.
I don't know. I watched that movie and I was like, yeah, I probably don't ever need to see this again.
Yep, but it's a one and doner. It is definitely a one and doner.
Oh, this looks promising.
You think?
No, it looks terrible. Is that Kevin Bacon I see?
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
Yes, I almost started The Bondsman yesterday.
Okay.
And I pulled a page and I was like, you know what? Let's kind of snap out of this. Let's find something a little happier. And I found nothing. So I went back to sports.
I'm telling you, just go watch Ted Lasso. When you're in a bad mood, just go watch Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
It helps.
I feel like here's the thing with old Teddy.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen all the funny one-liners.
It's not even about the funny.
You sure?
Yeah. That doesn't even matter.
It's a TikTok fibbed.
Listen, there's funny stuff in there, but that's not why I watch it.
Yeah.
It's all about the feeding the soul, as you put it. Like it'll nourish you.
Understood.
Which is a weird thing to say about a comedy TV series on Apple TV, but it is what it is. Like I swear. So when I watched the first season, I binged it and I go, this show makes me want to be a better person. And I was not expecting that at all. It threw me for a loop.
Okay.
So I would recommend.
How many seasons?
It's 3, but they're short. It's like 8 or 10 episodes, and most of them are kind of half hours. So it's quick.
A half-hour episode?
Some of them might be 40, but they're pretty quick.
Huh.
They move through it. It's like because it is a comedy show, so they keep it pushing.
I got you.
They like keep it moving.
Yeah.
Much like our guy.
Would you like to?
Yeah. Who do we got today?
Today we have Addison Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And
I can't even see the other one.
And we have Michael Sevier.
Oh, good old Sevier.
Yes, Sevier.
What does Addison Williams and Michael Sevier have in common?
Not necessarily what they have in common.
Okay.
But the theme for the week.
The theme for the week.
Respective to them.
So
what is this week for this young man on my right?
Is he a big Masters guy?
Well, no.
Okay.
It is the Jet Awards.
Oh, yeah, obviously. 10th.
Yep, it is
Coming
the Jet
up here.
Awards, which is a very, very big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then for Coach Williams, it was Coach's Clinic weekend.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's probably rolling his eyes an inordinate amount of time with Addison Williams.
How is old Addison Williams?
Addison Williams is good. One thing I think we undersell?
What's that?
Moving.
Like the stressors of it?
Yep. He does not have his family here with him yet.
Yeah. We don't think about that a lot.
No.
With coaches.
We never talk about it.
Which is funny because I hate moving, so that's a thing I should think about.
Yeah, and I would struggle mightily without my kids.
Yeah.
So he's got a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Oof.
So he's waiting. Got to finish school June.
Okay, so there's
sometimes the timing doesn't always work out.
Yeah. He's got to get up here. School year's not over.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I'll be honest, I almost never think about it.
I turned around and I wasn't going to go back in the morning early, but Coach Lamanji and Coach Sikora talked me into it to go back and hear Coach P from North Dakota State, who, 6 minutes into his talk Saturday, Coach Polasic, he was on like his 18th expletive. And it's like 8:30 in the morning, and I'm like, yeah, I bet these guys.
So he was on that.
Have a lot of chill practices up there in Old Fargo.
He was on that Mike Sauter schedule then.
Man, at one point he's talking about competitive culture, and he says a lot of things that I would like to say out loud. Like he would say, you know how I said, people say, oh, it's better to love and to have lost than to have never loved at all. And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
He would say things like, he would give like the low-hanging fruit analogies that people would use in sports. And he said, no, that's BS. There's winning and there's losing. You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, you know what? I think I like him. And I had known him before, so we walked from the Coliseum to practice, but there's no question why some programs just win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just this NDSU, they got some dogs, but he said out loud, don't send me your players if they can't manage and defeat and compete against stress. You're going to be stressed. He said, keep them home. Send them someplace else. They can't be Bison. I was like, tell them.
You know what's funny? And I'm fascinated. I would legitimately devote an endless amount of time to this if I had the access. I would love to just go and spend like a full day with each one of the North Dakota State coaches over the years, like starting with Craig Bowl.
So his reverence for Coach Bowl is, I got to back up. His reverence for Coach Bowl was originally why I was all in. Because the character traits that he described, because it was the first PowerPoint presentation, and I can see it. He put it down at the bottom third, but it was in bold because he was giving you a rundown of what he was going to talk through. And the guy that he was describing is the exact same person that rocked the boat in '96 when he took over Nebraska's linebacking cores and special teams.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, yeah. Oh, yep. Oh, yeah. 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 Yeah.
Like, I would love to go through, starting with Craig Bull, going all the way through Coach P, and just spend, because the thing that fascinates me is a culture that transcends coaches.
So he said that.
Really?
I almost stood up. He went through this list of national championships and spanning 4 different coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "What are you guys picking up? Are you guys vibing with what I'm saying? Whether it was Ince or now I'm thinking Kleiman,
yeah,
or Coach Bull."
Mm-hmm.
He said, "It's the culture. It's not the coaches.
Mm-hmm.
It's not me.
Yeah.
This is why I believe in what we do. These are why we have the non-negotiables."
And that's what's fascinating to me.
It's incredible.
Because we sort of bemoan the opposite of this at Nebraska right now, where it seems like we're dealing with some of the same bugaboos throughout multiple coaching genres and multiple ADs and obviously hundreds of different players. And my thought has always been, North Dakota's basically the other side of this coin. If that weird losing culture can transcend coaches and programs and players and ADs, then why can't the winning as well, right? Why can't, and North Dakota State has shown that from Bowl to Entz to Kleiman to Coach Pete, like there is no differentiation between the culture through these different coaches. And like they're sort of all tangentially connected, right? But it's not like you're not talking direct lines after the first couple, right? Like there's some separation between. It's not like they all coached under Coach Bull and now they're each taking their turn at the North Dakota State job. Like it's been kind of several factors down now at this point. I find if I was talented enough, I would write a book on it.
Yeah, it was fascinating. And this was,
maybe that's a good job for Dirk. I don't know what Dirk's doing right now.
So I saw him in passing at there were windows behind him, screen. State basketball.
Oh, okay, yeah.
See how funny my mind works?
Yeah, you visualized it, right? And
then and I knew there were these big open square paneled windows, and we were split by a curtain.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And he kept gaining ground.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the sense as a body language guy that he was not trying to stop and talk. So we were like 2 ships.
Just passing in the night.
Hey, DC. It's like ATV.
They're hot.
Kept it moving.
Kept pushing.
Yeah, so it was, and this was on the heels of, Friday was a lot of learning, because I didn't get down there until like 1:45, and so the funeral was exceptionally long, and a lot of X's and O's,
mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna steal a couple of schemes that I like, because I learned some. I usually learn a lot, but I learned. They broke a couple of tendencies of some schemes that I don't think work against certain formations,
mm-hmm.
or aren't highly successful.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them they can kind of live in.
Really?
And he was doing it at the professional level too. Yeah. I don't typically like this coverage against 3x1s and 2x2s.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, you don't have to scrap it. This is what we do." Matter of fact, I got a whole package on it.
Huh.
I was like, "Huh." So I'm immediately texting Coach Queen, and he's like, I could just tell he wasn't like vibing. And he's like,
"Yeah, I don't want to do that."
He's like, "Let's draw it up." I was so depressed. And I waited like 5 seconds, and I'm like, it's not that complicated if you just think about it. But he is a visual guy.
Well, that's one of those like, "Hey, I'm super excited about this. I want you to be as excited as I am." And they're like, "Yeah, I'm going to need you to sell me on it a little bit more."
Yeah, well, I mean, it started with my coach who's sitting next to me. I was like, "Hey, Coach, don't even think about it." Wait, but no. So I waited about, I gave it 10 minutes because he's hard to talk into stuff. And I said, "You realize it's just this, this, and this." He said, "Oh, okay, I'll let you use that guy and that guy, but that's it." I was like, "Baby steps."
a little victory.
Baby steps.
Little victory.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to stay with it. That's all.
Speaking of winning programs, we have a lot to get to this morning, not the least of which is UConn women back with an international title in just boat racing fashion.
Man.
And another winning program.
I want to get to that, too, because I want to – are you a Staley guy?
It's hard. I mean –
you can save it. I want to get to that.
Yeah.
Because I think these coaches' personalities, it's not hard to see why what's what.
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
Another winning program that's going through a little change is Creighton volleyball.
Can't believe it.
Coach Booth.
I mean, I can, but I can't.
Coach Booth steps down. Brian Rosen will be elevated to head coach of Creighton volleyball. That and so much more here coming up next on Hurrdat Sports Live.
You've talked about how you've had the most fun you've ever had coaching in these past couple of years. Was there any part of this past season that you thought to yourself, I could retire or this could be it?
Yeah, I had a moment when we were at Wisconsin. It kind of hit me there. I started thinking about it. I actually had a talk with Lindsay. Lindsay and I kind of hang out usually after pregame meal before a match, and I just told her, I said, I don't know, I'm just having this feeling like, this is, what else is there to do? We can win win the Big Ten, we can win a national championship, but other than that, it's starting to feel like we just kind of had a conversation, and that's where the first seed was planted.
Mm-hmm. What were some of those signs along the way? I know you've talked about some, but any in your mind, maybe with your family, that you knew, okay, this is the time?
One, the fact Lauren's getting ready to have another baby, and I got a 4-year-old granddaughter asking me where I'm at, why am I not there with them? That kind of hit. And then there was a series of things that happened. Some of it was with Danny in Louisville, because we started talking over Christmas a little bit, and then there was just signs that happened. People I talked to, and some of my people that I'm really close with, I asked them about retirement and what's it like and how do you know when, and I had just had all these signs going, and then the final one was
and Oklahoma State softball story is a story of growth and success. After getting to visit the team this fall and watching practice and talking with Coach G, I am confident in this team this year.
The best you is really dang good. I mean, it's really good, okay? So just be that. No more, no less. Lightning in my fingers, and I'm nice on my feet.
Mizuno and Oklahoma State softball are built for big moments.
Brace yourself.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Hey everybody, it's Ravi Lulla from Hurrdat Sports here, and I'm reminding you to get down to Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill because Menu Madness Round 3 has already started. If you haven't been down here yet, make sure you get down and cast your vote because you can win $100 or $50 gift cards here from Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. So make sure you get down here, watch your teams, and vote to win.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla reminding you, make sure you've got those eyes focusing straight ahead as you're driving to work this morning. I've been trying to find alternate routes to get here. We got
you got to practice it.
I know. And I got to time it out a little bit
It's hard
better
to simulate because it's not the same time of day. But
yeah,
you just have to pick a route that you – when I first moved, I would – because, you can go get on the interstate right away, go around to Pacific. I could get on the interstate, get off on Center. I could just take 108 to 96, bang a left on 96 over to Center.
Yeah.
I practiced which way I wanted to go, I don't know, probably 6 times maybe.
So I mapped it out a couple times.
I could take 108 straight south to Center. And then go down to 90.
Go all the way through?
Oh, yeah.
So
You pass West Side's West Campus, and it's right there.
Maybe I need to take 108.
You can't take it. You can't. There is no straight shot for you.
Yeah.
Not to here.
But if I go, anyways, pay attention to the road, NDOT.
So you're basically coming from 120th and Dodge.
Yeah, so if I go 120th to Center down to 108th, and then it'll go all the way over.
You can only go No, you don't want to do that, but I know what you're saying.
Like there's no straight shot because 120th
you know what I would do?
132nd.
You know what I would do?
What's that?
Take ILQ. So
that's what I did, but I have to hop off before.
Go like you're coming from my house. So take Q. Get off on L.
Oh, get off on L. I got off on Q.
Well, Q, you can only go 120th, and then you're going to go by the golf course down there.
Yeah.
And under the tracks.
That's what I did.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Wasn't ideal.
Yeah, practice.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
That's why I'll say 11 minutes or 13 minutes or 9 minutes, and people think I'm dumb, but
you're on it.
And in our business, what are they going to say? Hey, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Hey, 90 seconds.
They tell you exactly how long.
They tell you what it is.
It's not like, it's about 15.
Yeah. Hey, hold this for about 3:30.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that 210 seconds?
So I need you to fill a little here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. It's all right. It's been a challenge the last few days.
So what's the problem here?
We'll figure it
out.
On
the interstate?
So they're from basically L to Giles. They're doing something where 2 lanes are closed. So it just gets bottlenecked real bad.
It's already a handful too, especially around like between 4:30 and 5 with people getting off on Harrison. Like they slow down or don't stay in the right lane. So it just bottlenecks for no reason.
Yeah, it's a big pet peeve of mine where you've got a long exit ramp and people don't use that to slow down. Instead, they start slowing down on the interstate.
Yeah.
Or same thing with turn lanes. Like if you're going 45 or whatever down one of the city streets and you've got one of those extended turn lanes like they have on a lot of places on Dodge over by where I live, but you start slowing down about 35, 30 before you get to the turn lane, we're going to have some speaks.
Yeah, but that's a little better than the exceptionally short turn lanes.
Yes. If it's a really short turn lane,
if I'm on L and I'm heading east and I want to go south on 96th, that turning lane holds like 4 car lengths.
Yeah.
I'm like,
no, those I understand.
Whose idea was this?
Those I understand when you're braking in the main.
So you have to wait for people heading east so you can get up and have enough room to turn.
Yeah, not ideal.
And What sense does it make to not have the turning lane be green the same time the traffic moving that direction is? I'm sure there's something I'm not thinking of.
Well, sometimes they'll do both left turns at the same time.
Coming from the other direction?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Which is fine. What I don't understand is sometimes the timing of it. Sometimes they'll do both at the same time, and then the same intersection later, they'll do all one direction, then all the other direction. I don't know. I'm sure there's a science behind it.
Well,
Well,
you should ask our folks from the NDOT.
Yeah, maybe they can give us a little tutorial.
Yeah.
I would like to know. Also, if they have a better way to get from 120th and Dodge to here, let me know.
Speaking of which, but my tutorial, this is my little cheat sheet.
That's a cool little notebook, too.
Yeah. They gave us a long sleeve tees and a hat, too. Could you read this writing?
Let's see. What do we got here?
It's very hard for you. What's it say?
Affect the QB, base fundamentals, blitz screams, how hard we play, how.
You don't have to read them all. Just wondering if you could read.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Big affect the quarterback team.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It all makes sense because, Coach Snow talked about being better on third down, and he got a little specific. And this was his very first presser.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm like, oh, this guy's already clearly combed through the footage. And what's Coach Butler talking about? Pre-snap, affecting the quarterback, needing to slow the quarterback down, change his views. So a lot of, and Terry, TB, he can teach.
It's kind of funny because
as we get away from the Final Four, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. We're talking about affecting the quarterback, and obviously their best performance last year for most of the year was the Colorado game, right? Where they obviously really impacted
and Ohio State quietly.
Sure, yeah, that's a good one too. But it seemed like they lost that for stretches of the season, and I don't know if you can do it against. I get Colorado's different than Ohio State, but Ohio State was the best team you played by far. Obviously, they won a national championship. But if you're able to do it against two of the better teams you play, and they're pretty different stylistically, the fact that they lost the thread there on affecting the quarterback throughout the season ends up being really frustrating. Because it worked. It's obviously a thing that a lot of people on staff cared about, but it wasn't something they were able to replicate consistently. And so, and I don't know if that's a personnel issue. I don't know if that's a scheme issue, play call issue, whatever, right? There's a lot of different options there. But the fact that it at least was possible at times during the year last year and wasn't something they could consistently do, I found incredibly frustrating because it is about the only thing that matters most of the time, right? Like consistently on defense, if you can't bother the quarterback in one way or another, you're just asking the quarterback to beat you at some point.
Well, and the thing about it is with the way that the rules are played, you can see how teams have to build defenses where guys can be multiple within the scheme too, because that's clearly by design with like personnel packages and stuff, where you can play like nickel or dime or out of the same personnel groups.
Yeah.
Then he talked about the freedom that they have by playing 5 DBs, especially if one of the DBs has a certain skill set.
Sure.
How you can be very, very multiple. Very multiple. I'll be curious to see, and I want to get the hoops with Gino here and Staley, but that's why I think flexibility at the jack position we're kind of underselling. Now, I watched Coach Simpson a ton at practice to see how he kind of splits his time. It leans a little more D-line-ish than it does stand-up space-ish.
At least at this point.
But man, a versatile jack.
Which I think we kind of overlook. We sort of reduced it to just edge rushing, right?
We did. But if you can utilize him in the passing game, I was watching these clips with Coach Butler where he would use Von Miller in pass drops.
Yeah.
Von flipping Miller.
Yeah.
Right? So when you can do that,
it becomes incredibly confusing for an offense.
Very much so.
I will say that.
they were getting to Mahomes just based on, I think, confusion.
Sure.
Because they were only bringing 5.
Yeah. I do think that's one thing. That's one of the things that jumped out to me during Prince Will's freshman year when we all got really excited about what he could be, is there were occasions where he would drop into flats and take things away that you're like, oh, man, that's really high level. Because when he can do that, when the guy coming from that jack spot, which I think in the clips that I was watching, he was sort of lining up in a jack spot, that really changes the dynamic of everything else on the defensive front, right? And it changes the eyes of where the offensive line is going. Like they don't really know.
And your count too.
Yeah, like you don't really know what to look for at that point, right? Like it screws up like your count. And so I do think we have been overly reductive of the jack spot as just an edge rusher.
Yeah. MJ, those guys played well.
Yeah, MJ Sherman had a really good year.
They played well.
I do want to get to the women's basketball final because I don't know, I always put things in terms of locally here. I sort of felt validated a little bit that this was a really good Jim Flannery team after the way I saw UConn just beat the hell out of everyone else.
Yeah. And they basically did it to Creighton both times in 2 quarters.
Yeah. Like Creighton was there, boom, gone.
Yep.
And then they're, and so
probably the only 2 dudes not named Matt DeMarinis that are like breaking that down as the season went on.
But no, I like, because that's the boogeyman for Creighton basketball, for Creighton women's basketball, right? Is UConn.
Yeah.
And so I do think about it in terms, like there was a part of me that, because obviously UConn wasn't even a 1 seed, right? They're a 2 seed in this tournament. So you look at them, and obviously nationally they weren't viewed in the same realm as kind of the South Carolinas this year. But so I didn't really know what to do in terms of, oh man, is Flan with this group who he's been with for so long? Are they really that far away, not being able to stay closer to UConn and that type of thing? But then you see the way UConn got healthy and played down the stretch, and you go, oh no, that's the best team in the country by a wide margin. Obviously, as we see them win by, it was like almost 30 yesterday against South Carolina. And you asked me about Gino as we were going off before the break, and he sort of reminds me of late career, last couple years especially, because he's had sort of this gruff.
If you give me a non-basketball coach as this example, and it's the guy I'm thinking of, I'm not going to be happy with you.
I was going to say John Cook. He started off very he had this kind of this gruff exterior.
I can't believe you said that.
That's what you were thinking?
A non-basketball guy. If you give me a non-basketball guy as a comparison, that's it. Remember when I was going to get off and I was like, he's giving me, and I was going to say JC vibes.
Yeah.
Right? He gives me Cook vibes.
Yeah. Where he's sort of softened a little.
He's evolved into this understanding of the psyche.
Yeah.
Seems he's embraced the spending era when he's known for being pretty upfront, kind of hard edge.
Yeah, a little harsh sometimes, very straightforward.
Yeah.
Very direct.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
But he seems like he's almost gives off warm vibes now.
Yeah.
He's softened quite a bit. And I don't know if that means he's about to retire too or what, but
I don't know. Everybody but Beckers is coming back. I'd stick around. He got a couple of dandies.
I saw a stat this morning as I'm kind of trying to make sure.
How about AZ coming back?
Yeah. As I'm trying to make sure I catch up on everything. And it was basically there's 3 people in men's or women's tournament history that have this laundry list of it's 100 points. This is in one tournament. 100 points, 15 combined steals and blocks, 10 3-pointers made, 10 assists, and I think 10 rebounds as well over the course of or 30 assists and 30 rebounds over the course of the entire tournament. All 3 of them were on UConn's team this year. The only 3 people in the history of either tournament to do those things. And I was like, oh, and only Beckers is leaving, right? And she was one of them. So I sit there and go, okay, probably. But you could have said the same thing about Cook. Cook got a pretty good squad coming back too.
Yep.
Not that I think Gino's
but that's what good coaches do. Kind of give that some thought when the concern is about the program. Hey, what kind of shape am I leaving this
especially if they're leaving it to someone they care about.
Yeah.
Right? We saw it with Coach Booth over the weekend. That program gets left to Brian Rosen. And that whole dynamic is really interesting as well.
How about Coach Frank?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really? Now?
Hey, set this thing up for you. There you go.
Be pretty good.
You can write a couple more out, You sure you don't want to?
I was telling our guys, because one of Nebraska staff really likes Coach Lamanji, and he was pulling me to the side how he appreciates. He said, is the young. I know. He said, I know he's Rust Belt, it's Youngstown, but man, he gives me Northeast New York, PA vibes, man. Love that guy, just old school. And I was like, yeah, there's a lot of that. Exactly a lot of that. I said it. I was very, very fortunate to lose a really good coach and get a really good coach.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen all the time, especially at the high school level.
And guys that are pretty different personality-wise.
Very much so.
You know, like I haven't.
Although they're at their core,
they probably care about the same
culture
things.
and players first.
Yeah,
very similar.
But just the way it presents itself exteriorly,
their delivery and how they
dramatically different.
I'm almost opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, like they're about as far apart as you can get, but it's sort of the core that matters there. But I mean, it's not like Ohio and Pennsylvania are terribly far apart. Like that's not, you know what I mean? Like those are.
But you know, like.
But it
those guys in those Northeast, like they're very territorial.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
They're not sharing, even if they're not sharing. They're not sharing 6 miles of a borough.
Yeah.
You think they're sharing another state?
Yeah, I know. But to the rest of us from the outside, it's like, you squint, it's basically the same thing.
No, believe me, Harlem is vastly different than the rest of the Bronx. Right? Like that's just how they think.
It's not the same.
Upper and lower like it's.
You got the Upper East Side, Upper West Side. Yeah, you got.
Talk to somebody about East Philly. It's vastly different than any place else in Philly.
What about West Philadelphia? You're born and raised on the playgrounds where you spend most of your days, chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool, shooting some b-ball outside the school.
Yeah, Will. Yeah.
We're gonna go into another Bad Boys thing here.
Holy smokes! Got that right.
No, we'll get more into. We got Sam coming up here in a little bit. Sam McKewon from the Omaha World-Herald. We'll get more into Coach Booth and that whole transition at Creighton. We also have the men's Final Four and the championship to cover tonight. That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla, more Hurrdat Sports Live. Coming next. Hey everybody, it's Ravi Lulla from Hurrdat Sports here, and I'm reminding you to get down to Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill because Menu Madness Round 3 has already started. If you haven't been down here yet, make sure you get down and cast your vote because you can win $100 or $50 gift cards here from Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. So make sure you get down here, watch your teams, and vote to win.
To how big this sport is in this state. What's it like to see the community support Omaha and just the growth of women's sports?
Well, you know, as an outsider that came to Omaha, this community is really special. And if you were to ask me what's a great place to try to start a thing like this, Omaha would be the first name that came to mind. We rally so well, we support our community, and then this is extremely competitive volleyball. I mean, it's fun to watch as a professional athlete myself to come here and see top-notch volleyball. I'm super happy that we have it here.
So what you're saying is Omaha may need a professional football team.
Hey, I'm all in. If you know the right people, let's do it. I'll come back home.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
The college basketball crowd, folks. The inaugural season. Trust us, this tournament is going to be here for a long, long time. And the first winners ever, Big Red! Champions of the college basketball crowd and winners of $300,000.
Kicking off hour number 2 here on Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We are joined now by Sam McKewon from the Omaha World-Herald. Sam, what's going on?
Hey, guys. How are you?
Green eggs and ham. How we doing, bud? What's the weather looking like?
Cold and sunny. I like it.
Me too. Me too.
You guys are sickos. Give me the warm weather.
Football weather.
Let's go. Give me
Football
the
weather.
Warm weather, baby. Let's go. Warm it up.
We don't even have to remotely fast forward. I'm going to enjoy the green of my grass for as long as I can and then try to fast forward to fall. It'd be nice if we so are the days gone where we don't really get like a real summer? All the other weather changes. Why can't we get less heat?
A real summer?
Yeah, like it's long and hot, and all the other months seem to have changed. You don't really get a real winter. Spring is now condensed. Fall is pushed back. Why is spring the only one that gets longer? Or summer, I should say.
Yeah, so summer's out there now. It's hot and dry, and I don't know. I mean, I try to find something good in all the seasons. I don't,
I'm a four seasons guy too, Sam. Don't let me fool you. I like balance. I just like the heat.
I'm getting a little tired of winter though. I am.
It's like 2 months.
Yeah, but I'm getting like I like a little snow around the holidays, but outside of that, I'm getting tired of it. So, and I'm getting, as you get older, you get seemingly more susceptible to certain things around this time of year. So trying to work through that with a little allergy season. Pollen was rough last week. We'll see if it's bad this week.
Oh, man. There was a stretch over the last month where people were just getting their tails kicked, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what. Yeah, I guess it was the pollen. I'm not that smart. I'm going to take your word for it. All right. So what was kind of I want to start with the crown. And maybe this isn't in your sphere of influence. Did you feel like you had to allow Nebraska to not have to apologize for the success they had in the postseason?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I think they if you're going to go out there and if you're going to compete in the thing, you may as well win it. And the financial incentive at the end of the thing is legitimate, and they went and won all of the money. That's probably a good reason to go play in that thing, and I think that probably provided. Okay, that makes more sense to wait 3 weeks, because shoot, if you're good at something, it's a game of skill and a game of many things, and you got a chance to split $300,000 among your teammates, so long as you go play 4 basketball games, go do it, and they did, and they won a lot of money. So good for them. I mean, that's shoot. I mean, they're going to be able to help their families and help themselves with that. So no. I think the financial piece of it probably does change it a little bit for me. Like I think I understand why they did what they did. I think if that component wasn't there, then you're going out there and trying to soak up as much experience for one more week as possible, which they also did. So I think Nebraska did right by going out there, and the win on Saturday was a very good win. Boise State's a very good team.
Mm-hmm. I thought they'd win it. That was my pick. So yeah, I'm super pumped. They made them look fairly pedestrian, and I was floored.
They did. So Boise was my pick, and then Nebraska was number 2. So I kind of thought Saturday's game would be for the whole thing, and then Nebraska had a lull on Sunday, but then they got through that, and Sejan made some shots, and Jawan Gary was great from start to finish, and fun to see him end his career that way. And of course, Bryce Williams ending his career the way he did. So, I think this is something, if you're just talking pure utility, this is something you can take out to transfers now and say, listen, we didn't make the NCAA tournament, but we went out and did this thing. And one guy set a bunch of records. And the other guy, I think, would swear up and down by his experience at Nebraska, that being Juwan Gary. So I think that's a good billboard for where Nebraska wants to go and where Fred Hoiberg can take them. They got to make the NCAA tournament next year. They do.
Yeah,
so,
it's that or bust, right?
Well, not for Hoiberg, but I mean, in the sense of like what fans expect and what their expectation level is. Yeah, I mean, no, Fred's contract is ginormous. So like he's going to be around for a while. And for what it's
and
worth,
hopefully it's because he's winning, not because we feel compelled.
Right. Well, I mean, I think they can go out and get some pieces. I think they need to get a little more shooting. You see what happens when they make shots, and obviously Juwan Gary made a bunch. But if they go out and get a little more shooting, and it looks like the center that they got is a little bit more offensively diverse than Morgan or Mia, and they needed Morgan to be a little bit more diverse this year, and he just wasn't comfortable taking that three. He just wasn't his thing. And so you bring Mats back, and then you get a center in there that might be just slightly more offensively.
And you get Mats back, and you get to play with a Sejan and Sandford, which gives you a couple of shooters on the floor at the same time potentially. Still got to find that elusive point guard.
Well, they could get Jamarcus Lawrence back, and that's possible.
I read that last week, and I was kind of going through that. Wouldn't that be something?
It would be. I don't think that was a player they wanted to leave, and he isn't necessarily a traditional, point guard per se, but he was part of an NCAA tournament team in Nebraska, and I think he was better than the person who came in and replaced him in Raleigh Worcester. So, we'll see what they do if it's him or if it's somebody else. But again, they're going to put together a roster, and it'll be decent. And then it'll come down to you got to win the right combination of games in a league that's not going to get a lot easier. I mean, the Big Ten's going to be tough every single year, and so don't expect things to just get easier. Because Garrett Queen and the guy at Illinois moved on. It's going to be a tough thing every year.
Sam, what do you think?
How much are they going to pay Yakish this?
Much as they want.
Man.
What do you think about kind of this momentum conversation? Because obviously, as we discussed, most of these players aren't returning, but there's still, it seems like there's still some momentum for the program in general. Like, how do you weigh the success impacting next year when most of these guys are going to be somewhere else?
I think it's very similar to the momentum that Nebraska felt winning the Pinstripe Bowl.
Agreed.
And so it's just a program momentum that you're taking into the offseason. Everybody, of course, lost their minds over Nebraska winning the Pinstripe Bowl, and they haven't really done that necessarily with the Crown, but that's pretty similar. I mean, it's like a bowl game, so to speak. And so, when you win 4 in a row, it's kind of like a bowl game. So, I think that's kind of what they did. And so they can take that into the offseason. Again, they're going to go into the portal. They need to find a couple of guys. They can get momentum in recruiting. Maybe there's a deep-pocketed booster that saw that and said, you know what? I'm going to give a little bit more money to Nebraska basketball before July 1st. I never know. It's just lots of different things that could happen. In terms of team momentum, I hope that if you're talking specific players, I think Connor Essegian will go into the offseason feeling a lot better about things than he would have if he had gone into the offseason off the Iowa game.
Sure.
And so I thought Essegian played really well in Las Vegas. Certainly wasn't Juwan Gary good, but in a lot of ways, I thought he was just about as important as Bryce Williams. I mean, Bryce had a great tournament out there, but I thought Essegian was the difference maker in the Arizona State game. And I thought when things got a little rocky Sunday, Essegian made a couple of threes. And so, I thought he was a huge reason why they won the Crown. Gary's number one for sure on that list, but I thought, honestly, Essegian was 2A or 2B.
Sam, let me ask you, when you're kind of watching Nebraska and in this postseason, do you like what do you think the long-term sustainability is in concepts as a whole about playing games for pools of money, the chance to win pools of money?
I don't have a problem with it. I think it provides an opportunity and incentive. I'm telling you right now, I understand why Indiana and Iowa, these teams, I understand why Iowa didn't. I understand why these teams didn't want to play in the Crown.
Although apparently Fran is well received by his brethren. Did you see him yucking it up over there at the old in Vegas? Getting his hugs and his dap ups.
Well,
like,
he's the new Penn coach.
I did.
Awkward.
I did. And so I don't know what's, I understand that Indiana basically just vacated its entire team. They all left, and Iowa, most of the players left and went to the portal.
Most of them came to Nebraska one way or another.
I think some of these guys are going to I think after this season, if the Crown comes back, I'll be honest with you, I don't really think people understood the NIL involved here. They really didn't. It was unclear to us how much money they were playing for just days before this thing began and who exactly it was going to.
And then it was like I asked Ravi, I'm like, so is this like the players are getting this $300K? Because that's I'd be incentivized.
Apparently it's not the coaches. We learned that yesterday from Hoiberg. They don't get any of it.
I'm like, fudge. I'd play for
I'd
play for $50. Listen, Sam, on April 26th, I would do 7-on-7 for $50.
Oh. No, that's what I mean.
I'd be miserable, but
I was. You'd be fine. I think it's really interesting to think about it that way, and I don't have any issue with it. I think it's a good incentive, and I thought, I watched many of the games in the tournament. The basketball wasn't bad. I thought there were stretches where Nebraska played excellent. There were stretches where they didn't. But, I thought overall, the quality of basketball was pretty good. And, by the time the Crown rolls around, you only got 4 teams left. And so there's not much NCAA tournament left to go. And so maybe if you're hungry for, something else, there you have the Crown. And we watched the Final Four games on Saturday. And first of all, two very exciting games, but you get to the Final Four and the defenses are, nobody's shooting the lights out anymore. And one of the things I appreciate about the Crown is there was a couple games where people were just
letting that thing fly.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe the shot selection.
Yeah,
like they were coached by me.
Well,
out there.
I know it was
right.
No question. And so I appreciate that aspect of it. I think that the NCAA, whatever you want to call it, officiating committee or whatever, will go back and look at the physicality of this particular NCAA tournament and maybe dial it back a notch or two, and maybe call a little bit less or call a little bit more early in games so that you have a free flow of play late in the games. I'm not just talking about Duke Houston, but some of the Elite Eight games and just some of the way the games transpired, and you got to make sure that everybody's got an opportunity to make some plays near the rim. And I thought it was very physical over those Sweet 16 and Final Four weekends. So I appreciated the Crown's aesthetics, the way that guys were just kind of getting up and down the floor and playing basketball. It wasn't about every possession is tightly controlled by the coaches and everybody's hammering each other because they don't think officials will call a bunch of fouls in the Final Four, and they're kind of right. They won't until that poor call on Cooper Flag. There just wasn't many things called in that game, and then all of a sudden there was one call that nobody understood. But that's what I appreciate about the Crown.
I think the thing I like the most about it, Sam, I like the abbreviated schedule. They got this whole thing done in 8 days, basically? 7 days, 8 days?
Mm-hmm. 7.
I think that was phenomenal. If I'm any other, even the NIT, I lose track of when that's being played and who's playing when and whatever. I thought the scheduling of this thing made it really, really compelling.
It did. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it was it appeared to be well run, and it seemed like the whole thing worked, and hopefully it grows. You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see a women's Crown tournament too. So move away from the WBIT, which that's fine. They can do that, but they can keep doing that just like the NIT. But I'd like to see a women's crown, a 16-team women's crown as well. And there may come a day, guys, when in a tournament like the Crown is openly competing for teams that don't want to go to the NCAA tournament, and that probably won't ever happen. But you just never know, because you just never quite know how it's all going to shake out in the future.
Sam, on the heels of Nebraska's coaching clinic and a lot of teaching, and these guys apparently like to teach. The next time to go around for the media session, on the heels of kind of what Coach Rule was talking about on Saturday, do you have a new interest or the same interest the next time around?
Related to what?
What you want to see?
Oh, well, we'll get to see them tomorrow in the States. Some of it depends on what they're willing to show us. So,
that little Rye, I could feel that Rye smile.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, no, I don't need to see the receivers and the DBs again. I think I'll try to see what the offensive linemen are doing. And, it's football, so they haven't probably found new ways to practice. I do feel like Rule seems to like the offensive line play.
I'm going to put Ravi on the spot here. He doesn't know that I'm going to ask him this. What was the first thing that I told you I was afraid to say but pleasantly pleased with when I came back last week?
Offensive line?
So, Sam, I was so afraid to say it. I'm like, no, nobody's going to get it. They're going to think, oh, it's bad D-line, or I'm, blowing smoke. It felt really good to hear him say that out loud, because I was floored last week, Sam. With what they were working with and how inexperienced some guys were, I was floored by the success of the offensive line.
That's great. I mean, that's good news.
I don't know what it means. Maybe, listen, it could be one of those deals, right, where you're expecting like water and it's club soda, and I'm like, ooh, club soda. Like most other people think club soda is not that great, but so it could be that. I'm just saying I was pleasantly surprised to hear him reference the offensive line too, because he's a tough critic.
Well, they added a starter from Alabama and a starter from Notre Dame. So you would hope they would be pretty good. Right?
People keep telling me that. I don't know. We'll see. I keep hearing that.
I think that helps you. I'm sure that those guys were well compensated to come here. And, it sounds like Justin Evans is doing well at center. They might have some depth. And, what do you do with Teddy Prohaska and Turner Corcoran? I think that remains to be seen. So it seems like they've got some players. It seems like they've got some things going on that are good on the line. Probably want to watch them and see where the run game's at, if they let us see that. How backs attack the holes. And we will see, though. I don't know if we'll get a picture. We'll get a picture of that. People can have a simplistic view of run game sometimes. They can just think, well, there's a big hole and you run through it and then you try to run past everybody. Like that. It's much more complex than that. And, it's a relationship between the linemen and the backs and the tight ends, and the quarterback has a job in the run game, even when he's not running the ball.
I'm down to three position groups, Sam. I started out with the tight ends. They're still in the hunt because that's a really well-coached group. Now I'm interested in the running backs, which I almost always poo-poo because I think I can whatever the term is, surmise or assess. Like I can do those guys in my sleep. So usually that's not that fun. I try to get out of my comfort zone. But they're probably 1A. Because I listened to Coach Rule a couple weeks ago when he went through the running backs. And he was very specific about their traits. And I'm like, that's rare. You can't get him to say anything about anyone other than the quarterback. but he took his time to go through the running backs. So I wanted to see. I'm childish, right? I'm like, see if he knows what he's talking about. So now that's all I paid attention to, and I'm telling you that. And he said he was happy and didn't feel like he had to go portaling. That group is better than we think. That running back room is better than we think.
Why is that?
I can't put my finger on it, but they practice so hard. I mean, coming out of the ends of stuff, long runs, even if it's like bottled up early, kind of elusive. They just seem active, right? They're in the passing game. I don't know. I don't know. And it's not that I want to prove him wrong. I'm just trying to figure out why does he say, I'm in that, why does he say these things? Especially if it's football related in terms of assessment. I don't know. I like that group, I think, probably more than like the average Bear.
I one thing I'll say is that I think Emmett Johnson's become a better player, and I think he's certainly grown with coaching. And that doesn't always happen, but I think that's happened. I've heard very good things about Nelson, and so we'll see.
That's a player
So,
I would like to just. I'd like to just go pick him up and hang out with him just for like a week. Just pick his brain. He's interesting. I think I like him a lot.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a factor. And then you have Quentin Ives, and then you have Jamarian Parker and Connor Booth, and they might have a couple walk-ons. So
I want my body to look like Quentin Ives.
It takes time sometimes to build these players and get them where they need to go. And we'll just have to see. I think what Rule seems pleased about is that the team seems tough and sort of has an edge to it, maybe a hard-edged program at this point, which I think is encouraging to him. And I think those backs probably exemplify that. Now they've got to get the receivers on that track. Right, you got a bunch of new receivers, and they need to come in and play with an edge. I don't know that the guys last year always did. Now they need to. They absolutely need to play with an edge, and I think you're going to get tight ends that do that. I certainly with Lindenmeyer, you're going to get that. So I think it's probably a team that has a little bit of a hard edge to it, and that's encouraging. And then on the defensive side of the ball, everybody knows that they need to have a playmaking defense. And how you get those plays and from whom is the question that we're going to be talking about, quite frankly, all the way through the season. It's going to go all the way to the end of the season. We're going to be like, how are they going to do it this week? Who's shown that they can do it? How do they get it done? Do they get it done? Because they're going to need a defense that makes plays if their offense is cranking at a little bit more efficiency than it has in the previous 2 years.
Sam, want to change gears on you here before we get you out of here. Obviously, some, I think to most, pretty surprising news last night out of Creighton with Coach Booth moving on and Brian Rosen taking over the program.
Yeah.
I guess from your standpoint, I know sometimes as people in the media or especially with you real journalists over there at the Omaha World-Herald, unlike me and DB, that sometimes you get a little heads up.
Speak for yourself.
Fine, just me. Sometimes you get a little heads up on these things before they happen. I guess kind of at what point did you guys have an idea that something was going on, and have you been able to sort of figure out why now?
Yeah, probably right when it was announced is when we found out.
Okay.
So, no, I don't have a ton of insight. Obviously, a stunning decision but I'm sure she'll explain that a little bit more today. You don't expect that on a Sunday night during spring camp, but that's the decision she made. She's had an incredible career. You always want to try to leave something better than you found it. Well, not only did she leave something better than she found it, she created it from the ground up.
Mm-hmm.
And so she leaves Creighton having built one of the best programs in the country. The best program in the Big East, the best program outside of, the Big 10, the Big 12, and the SEC. A program that can sustain and can continue to achieve and excel. And, just an extraordinary achievement and effort that she's put in. And, she deserves all the accolades and all the rest. What I'll say is that, she was so respected within that athletic department that even though I understand she's going to stay on as a fundraiser, it's still, somebody that you really want to have in that room and in that department. And so, she'll be missed as a leader as well. It won't surprise me if she goes into leadership development, because I think that's something that she probably does as well as any coach in the state. And so, she's likely to be somebody who, if you said, hey, who would you talk to in terms of coaches for leadership? She would be very high on the list. So would Matt Rule. And their achievement levels are different, honestly. I mean, I think Booth's been achieved more, but their philosophies about how to build people up and how to shape people are similar and dynamic. And so, I've always appreciated listening to her when she's on a podcast or something, because of the way that she kind of understands young people and understands how to develop leaders and how she's become a leader herself. So she's going to be very missed, even if they continue to play great volleyball, which I suspect they will, and they'll continue to, be very competitive. That person's presence within the department is probably going to be a little lower if she's not coaching. So, big loss there, but she's earned the right to do whatever the heck she wants.
What a last 5 months in the volleyball world in the state of Nebraska.
Right? Yeah.
Although for vastly different reasons, my gut, what a couple of icons.
No question. Yep. Cook, obviously a legend.
Well, he spoke Friday. He spoke Friday night, and
that's right.
No coincidence why he wins. Zero.
Yeah, I thought it was very thoughtful of Rule to put him in that role, because if you have somebody on your campus that's won as many championships as him, I'm going to guess he has a little bit of insight on team building and culture building, and Rule's very good about that. Coaching so much is culture building and player development, and those things are sort of transportable across sports. Obviously there are X's and O's, and I'm sure they spent lots of time in the coaches clinic talking about those things, but coaches need inspiration too, and they need to know how to reach people. And I think Cook certainly has insight on that. It is a huge change in the sport for the two coaches of top 6 teams to leave in the same offseason, and for it to be in the same state. Obviously, it's going to be a big change for both programs, and it's probably a little less at Creighton because Rosen's already been there, but he has also not necessarily had as much time as Busboom Kelly has to sort of be in that role. So she took the job a couple of months ago, and I think that's probably been a little bit more of a ramp. And so Rosen's going to have to become the head coach now, and that's a change. So each program's got a little bit of an adjustment to make. And honestly, I think on the court, it's going to still be pretty darn good, at least in the first couple of years here, and for both programs. I think they're going to be just fine on the court. It is, again, the presence and role that those two people had in their respective athletic departments that'll be missed also. And that's not to say that Booth and Cook are easily replaceable. I just feel like what they built at their respective programs is sustaining enough that the success is going to continue because of what they've built.
Yeah, and I know what you're saying. It just takes a little maturity to process it, because I get the simple versus easy. But given how much those two care about the program, you got the sense that no matter how quick or abruptly it seems to us, they've done their due diligence behind the scenes to make sure, right? KBB and Cook both think of their programs in a high enough regard to not leave it in the lurch, right?
Oh yeah. No, I mean, that hasn't happened. I'm sure there'll be some continuity in the assistant staff for Rosen. There's a lot of continuity at Nebraska, obviously, with Kelly Hunter and Jalen Reyes staying on. They're slightly different programs, and I think that they hired commensurate to the programs that they are. Again, Creighton is going to continue to dominate the Big East, and I'm sure, and will continue to be very good there. Nebraska will continue to be, a force and not just a great program, but sort of this cultural phenomenon throughout the state. And so Busby Kelly has to take some of that on too. And that's a little bit extra duty that Cook handled really well. I'll say that he handled the phenomenon part really, really well. There's a lot of coaches that could have been like, well, I don't want this, and I don't want my team to be in the spotlight, and been a miser about it. He was not. He was very open-handed with what that program's become, and I think Busby Kelly will be too, because it had become that while she was playing there, and so she understands what it's like to be a phenomenon, the way that Nebraska volleyball's become, and we'll see if Rosen can get Creighton to a Final Four. I mean, the reality is Creighton should have been in the Final Four last year, but in my opinion, they were improperly seeded, and so they should have been a top 4 seed, as opposed to playing at Penn State on a Sunday night to go to the Final Four. I think Creighton should have been the 4 seed and should have been playing at home, and I think they would have made the Final Four if that had been the case. But that's just not the way they chose to do it.
That's Sam McKewon, Omaha World-Herald. Appreciate it as always, Sam. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Sam.
All right, take care.
There's a lot.
There's a lot in there.
Yeah, this time of year just doesn't give me good vibes. I'll be all in on the presser.
Oh, in terms of the timing of the departure?
KBB, yeah.
I mean, there's a couple different narratives about why it might be. I'm not.
And you know what? There's a little bit of guilt isn't the word, but I shouldn't be going there, just have the moment and enjoy the PC.
Yeah.
But given how how I think about her, it's like,
yeah,
what's going on?
Yeah, I am interested, and we can get into that next. I mean,
we have yet to do the Final Four. How about that? But we got Hladik coming up.
We got Matt Hladik at 9 from the Spun.com. We'll dive into the Final Four on the men's side and the championship game tonight as well. I do want to get back to the Coach Booth thing here in just a minute on Hurrdat Sports Live.
You've talked about how you've had the most fun you've ever had coaching in these past couple of years. Was there any part of this past season that you thought to yourself, I could retire or this could be it?
Yeah, I had a moment when we were at Wisconsin. It kind of hit me there. I started thinking about it. I actually had a talk with Lindsay. Lindsay and I kind of hang out usually after pregame meal before a match, and I just told her, I said, I don't know, I'm just having this feeling like, this is, what else is there to do? We can win the Big Ten, we can win a national championship, but other than that, it's starting to feel like we just kind of had a conversation, and that's where the first seed was planted.
Mm-hmm. What were some of those signs along the way? I know you've talked about some, but any in your mind, maybe with your family, that you knew, okay, this is the time?
One, the fact Lauren's getting ready to have another baby, and I got a 4-year-old granddaughter asking me where I'm at, why am I not there with them? That kind of hit. And then there was a series of things that happened. Some of it was with Danny in Louisville, because we started talking over Christmas a little bit, and then there was just signs that happened. People I talked to, and some of my people that I'm really close with, I asked them about retirement and what's it like and how do you know when, and I had just had all these signs going, and then the final one was
Mizuno and Oklahoma State softball story is a story of growth and success. After getting to visit the team this fall and watching practice and talking with Coach G, I am confident in this team this year.
The best you is really dang good. I mean, it's really good. Okay? So just be that. No more, no less.
Lightning in my fingers, and I'm nice on my feet. Heavyweight big swinger, got you saying double while we're counting to three.
Mizuno and Oklahoma State softball are built for big moments.
Brace yourself.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Hey everybody, it's Ravi Lulla from Hurrdat Sports here, and I'm reminding you to get down to Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill because Menu Madness Round 3 has already started. If you haven't been down here yet, make sure you get down and cast your vote because you can win $100 or $50 gift cards here from Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. So make sure you get down here, watch your teams, and vote to win.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, where they've always got great specials for you to enjoy. And Menu Madness still going on. It's the final tonight in the men's basketball tournament. You've got Menu Madness still going on as well. Come in, get registered for the loyalty program for your chance to vote and to win a $100 or a $50 gift card by voting for your favorite menu items here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Before we get to the men's basketball final, though, DB,
yeah,
I just kind of want to put it out here because people have asked us, people are wondering what the deal with Coach Booth is. And we don't know, right? But there's a couple prevailing ideas out there that I don't think are secrets, so don't feel like I'm betraying anything here. There's two narratives out there. I don't know which, if either, are true. But I think the worst kept secret in Omaha, and at least in the Creighton circles, is that there's some tension between Marcus Blossom and the rest of the athletic department. Maybe the rest of the university, depends on who you talk to. So that's one narrative, is that, and there's been some history between Coach Booth and Blossom specifically. So that's one idea out there, is maybe she just didn't want to work for that guy anymore, right? The other idea is that Brian Rosen was a highly sought after commodity, and that rather than see him go to another school, Coach Booth took this time to say, hey, maybe it's time to turn the program over to somebody that I trust. I think both are viable, to be fair. I will say the Blossom one, if Sam is right and she does stay on in some capacity, the Blossom one does seem strange to me that she would stay on at all.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, explain.
No, because you can love the program, and that's what fundraising is, without having to have like compromising. Yeah.
Okay.
They're completely different things.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, her passion and love for the program is
immense.
It's unmatched.
Absolutely.
Right? And she can go, and her and Raz can make a visit, or I mean, Yeah, that's vastly different than having that be your boss.
Totally
if that's
fair.
the thing.
Totally fair. I do think the Brian Rosen thing is true also. And it might be some combination of both, right? Where maybe you don't want to have this person be your boss anymore, and you don't want to see the program lose out on an opportunity to hire somebody that you think would be a good steward moving forward. I think there's a men's basketball parallel to a certain extent as well, where I genuinely think that most people around the program want Al Huss to take over whenever Mac is done.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think that's a secret either. The question is, when will Mac decide he's done? And where will Al Huss be at that point? Because he's going to be a hot commodity, if he's not already, pretty soon here, coming out of High Point. So you kind of weigh timing versus situation versus who you want to take over the program. And you got a lot of moving pieces all of a sudden, both in men's basketball and in the volleyball program. So I'll be interested to hear her press conference today, see if we can glean any information.
But and you know what? Just knowing her, there's no way we're going to glean anything. She's just a high road. She loves Creighton.
Nothing direct. Yeah, no, you're not. She's not going to bus roll anybody. But you might get some context.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, if it's – because I don't think she's going to lie either, right? So if it is the way I expect it to be is if it's a administrative boss situation, whatever, I'm guessing she'll talk around it a little bit more. If it's a lot to do with Brian Rosen and giving him the opportunity, I imagine she'll talk about that more directly. Yeah. That would be my guess. So that's kind of what I'm going to be listening for.
She's just not very old.
No, but she's been doing it for a long time.
Maybe it's the kid. Was she 04?
03 or 04? It's 22 years, so 03, 04 would have been her first year, I think.
They allowed her to grow too.
Yeah, well,
most people don't get that kind of rope.
Her only head coaching experience was junior college coming into this, but she also took over a program that was 3-23, so you have to give a little runway there.
Yeah.
And she took it and obviously turned it into a national volleyball power, which is incredible.
Look at some of Raz's hires.
Oh, I mean,
no, not bad.
Not bad at all. Flan, I think, was his first hire.
Yeah, not bad.
He went Flan, Mac, Booth. Yeah. Well, Flan, Booth, Mac, I think, in that order. And just home runs. Just 3 home runs.
Yeah, not bad.
That'll get it done. I can't remember. I think he inherited Service.
Service was late 90s, which would have been pre-Bruce. I think
he inherited Service.
Yeah.
So can't count him on the record either way. But that's not bad.
Which, by the way, it's weird to watch these or see these games or watch them and
these Creighton games.
See Coach Service out with his grandson. That's like that's how I felt watching those guys practice coming out. Like this, I'm this little kid running around trying to figure out how they practice so fast.
Yeah, it's been an interesting dynamic watching Creighton baseball this season too.
Yeah. Steve asked why there always has to be a reason. There doesn't. I just think there is. I mean, everybody has a reason.
Yeah, there is a reason.
It doesn't have to be something. Do you mean it doesn't have to be anything nefarious? Sure. I agree with that.
Yeah. But one of the options I gave you isn't nefarious. Like the Brian Rosen thing isn't nefarious.
Yeah.
That's hey, I've worked really hard to get this program into a place. I think if we don't get Brian now, we don't get him. So I'd rather have that than continue on. And I think one of her kids is about to start college. Like there's lots of positive reasons it could be, right?
100%.
So there's always.
I just was giving my man Steve context.
No, for sure. There's always a reason, though.
Yeah.
There's always a reason. So that'll be interesting to see what she says today.
I got a question for you before we get to. I get the times mixed up. We still have a little bit of a window before we get to.
He's
Matt
not
Hladik.
9. Yeah.
When you're watching these games this weekend, how they ended up, versus and take everything into effect.
Men's Final Four.
Yep.
Okay.
The way the teams play, how they historically have played this season, whatever. Were you more surprised that Houston didn't waver or melt down 14, or that however you looked at the Auburn, Florida turnaround late, who you gave credit to?
I
certainly Duke was more stunning.
Yes.
For how we think of them.
Yes. And for the way that felt that game was going.
But what's the one thing that I said all year about Duke, even though they were a good offensive team?
They'll go through these stretches where they just can't figure it out.
They go through these weird offensive lulls.
Yep. And against a team like Houston, that can get.
And it finally caught up with them when you can only have one guy that has the ability to initiate the offense.
Create his own shot or shots for others.
It just caught up with them.
Yeah. Yeah, it did.
It caught up with him. So I get it. You're up 9 with 2:43.
Yeah.
You're up 7 with 1:27.
They couldn't get the ball in. Yeah. They can't get the ball in bounds.
It's like I get that it was like the easy answer is certainly Duke because of the meltdown. But that was so what Houston does.
I would say that's who Houston is. Like Houston is steady,
it's
stay
just,
on it.
It's just now you could make the case too that Auburn, when they've been bad, their second halves have been atrocious.
Yeah. So I actually don't think either of them surprised me. Like as good as Bruce Pearl has been, I'm less likely to trust him and his teams in a high impact, high leverage situation. And vice versa, I kind of trust Kelvin Sampson almost implicitly. Like his teams
So
are
do you think he just walks around for as much love as he has for his team and his players have nicknames and he can get emotional? My man doesn't appear to like anybody else or anything out there except to the fellow coaches in the Big 12. Shout out his Big 12 brethren for getting them ready for their schedule. Dude's mad at the free world.
Oh, yeah.
Like
100%. He's a pretty gruff guy. He
Oh,
always
he
has been.
Especially for a lover. Like he loves his players.
Yeah, but anybody outside of that.
Dude, he does not. Hey, no disrespect to Duke. I'm sick of hearing about Duke. We're pretty good. Okay.
Maybe that's why I ride with him a little bit. Like he likes who he likes and everybody else to hell with him.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah. It's my new motto here going forward.
to hell with him.
Yeah.
To heck with him.
Yeah.
Fudge.
I can't do it impromptu, but it may come up later.
But no, I think both of those situations kind of exemplified who those teams are. Now, I would say maybe the only big surprise for me, and I don't know how big it was, is I thought Duke was maybe past that bugaboo of going through these long scoring droughts and not being able to figure it out. Not being able to inbound the ball was horrifying. I mean, that last 2 minutes, if you've got anxiety,
dribbling a ball off your thigh.
yeah, just like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like but I also brought up with Duke that one of my hesitations was,
the key possession before you get to this.
What's that?
Was way more Houston than it was Duke.
Yes.
It was the 3 second chance points and then getting the 3 in the corner.
Yep.
You they just out
that was a very Houston.
They just out efforted you.
That was a very Houston-y thing to do.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's 6 and you're like, well, it could have been 11 going the other way.
100%.
They just kept going to get the ball.
Yeah. And that's why it felt like a very Houston Kelvin Sampson team thing to do. Like that's why I didn't feel out of character, because they did it the same way they always do it, right?
And then you get the technical and Knippel makes it and you're thinking 67-61 with
that's probably a wrap.
Right.
Like when the technical happened, like that's a huge brain fart to swipe at the ball when the inbounders got it.
Yeah.
Huge brain fart.
That's what we would do like in Little League.
Yeah. It's this, I don't even know what he was thinking. It was probably
that's what his coach asked him verbatim. Did you read his lips?
Yeah, and then he goes, like
Yeah.
the player himself goes,
Yeah.
like he's hitting his own head, right? It seemed like he just went lizard brain for a second and said, "Oh, ball, hit it," and he goes, and that felt like in that moment, oh, they had this opportunity and they blew it with a setback. But that's part of the reason, even if I don't stylistically necessarily ride with the way Sampson tends to coach, because it's a little more grimy than I like, I will ride with the fact that you have to have an incredible culture to have that type of like mistake on that stage in that moment and have it not phase you at all.
Yeah.
Like that's incredible.
And then you get a guy that, I mean, you get a 6-year guy making free throws who can't shoot free throws.
Yeah. And God, but the form on those, I'm just like, oh man.
It's almost like he should have been right-handed and he's just using his left.
It looked like a Charles Barkley golf swing. That's those
like-
there's like a hitch in it at the end where I'm like, oh no. Is
Yeah.
Sean Marion shooting these? What's happening here?
And this isn't because I picked Houston.
But then you have Duke on the other side missing front ends.
Yeah.
You know?
And Proctor's not a good foul shooter, though.
He's not. He's like 68, something like that, 65, 68.
High 60s.
For that.
I
for the
think he
season.
was
worse than that
in the tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was down close to 50 in the tournament.
So
it's not shocking that he missed.
Although I am always floored to see great shooters not be good free throw shooters.
Yeah, that freaks me out because it's usually not sustainable. Like there's the correlation between good free throw shooting and 3-point shooting from college to the NBA is greater than 3-point shooting to 3-point shooting.
Interesting. That's not anecdotal?
No, that's like they did. I mean, it's probably 6-7 years ago now, but the data suggests that if you're a high-level free throw shooter in college, that is more likely to translate. If you're a low 3-point, high free throw, that's more likely to translate to 3-point shooting in the NBA than the vice versa.
Interesting. He doesn't handle the. I'll be curious to see how he gets shots off.
I mean,
he's going to have to get in the lab.
If
Proctor.
he gets shots off, I mean,
he's going to have to get in the lab.
That guy's got G League written all over him.
Should Flag have been better down the stretch?
It's hard. I mean,
it's hard against those guys, isn't it?
It's hard against those guys, and it's hard to nitpick again. Like when he's the only guy that can get his own shot.
Well, we just watched a team win with only one. Florida beat Auburn with basically Creighton.
Yeah. Creighton's a fourth-year guy, though.
You got nothing from Con. You got.
Yeah.
I mean, so it was Howe, Martin, and Creighton.
Yeah. Creighton's, again, this is sort of the point I was making back, I don't know, 2-3 months ago that Jacob lambasted me for when I was talking about.
Our Jacob?
Yeah. When I was talking about Sears versus Broom. Like that type of player, a Creighton type of player, leads you to championships more than a Broom Flag type of player. Positionally.
Yeah.
Like that's just, I don't know why, because Flag is great, Broom is great, but traditionally, historically,
you have to watch Broom to appreciate him because it can be a tough watch.
It's
old school, it's poundy.
Yeah, and it's definitely a different game than Flag, obviously.
Right.
But
yeah,
who's a much more like new school sort of hybrid big type guy.
Crafty, can handle the rock.
Yeah, like more of a shot creator, less of a low post guy. Like there's differences, but for whatever reason, positionally, the Claytons and Sears of the world have had more success leading their teams to championships.
That's one thing I absolutely nailed about that game, though. Houston's front line is the type of front line that would neutralize Duke.
Yeah.
Is give them fits. That length. Like,
honestly,
they're so active. They're going to do the same thing to Florida tonight.
The one that bothered me more was Malawak. Like, they needed Malawak to be better.
Yeah. Well, watch what they do to Condon tonight.
Yeah. But Duke doesn't have Creighton. That's the difference.
I mean, they kind of do.
But they don't.
They do. He just is Cooper Flag. They have a guy that can take games over.
They do.
The problem with Flag is, though, there isn't enough action for him to get shots when when he doesn't have the ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
Creighton is a little different because he can, he can give and go, a little handoff, get it right back.
Yeah. Well, and again, I think that's the difference positionally and contextually with the rest of the team, right?
Yeah.
Like there's Florida plays better off of Creighton.
But Houston will beat Duke or Florida tonight.
All right.
No, they will.
1.5 point.
I'm telling you. I'm getting.
What?
Yeah, Houston's a 1.5 point.
Yeah,
dog.
yeah. Give me Houston. Every day that ends in one.
What team is?
Back of the hand.
What team is
I'm
currently?
telling you what's going to happen. They're going to bully Florida's front court, and they're going to play harder than they do. And Creighton may get his going hero ball.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else has to help. I don't know if it's going to be Howe. I don't foresee it being Condon.
Yeah.
Elijah Martin's got a tough matchup. I mean, he's looking at a mirror image, maybe a better version than him on the other side. I'm telling you, Houston will beat them. And Florida was my pick till I got off of and went to Houston.
I was like, Florida was your pick until.
And I can only get second.
Really?
Yeah. I'm 1-1 pool, and I can only get second in the other. Because the dude that's ahead of he has Houston too, right? In our Hurrdat Sports Live?
Yeah.
Shane can be second.
Or like ninth.
Or ninth. Shane.
Sugar Shane.
Yeah, let's go Florida.
I don't know what. I don't think I can. I'm at 11th right now, which the last couple rounds have been good to me because I was down in like the middle of the pack before that.
Yeah.
I don't think I can get much higher because there's a bunch of Floridas ahead of me.
What team has the best streak right now in the last 2 minutes? Is it Houston?
No, I would say Florida.
That's the best what?
I think it's going to come down to
2 minutes.
the last.
Look
2
at Florida's last 3 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their spurt ability down the stretch when it
time,
mattered, their closing time has been incredible.
They're semisonic over there.
It started with UConn. I mean, they have hit the light switch when they needed to.
And that's why I have a hard time. Like I see
What was Denver Jones doing?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Wow.
That's why I have a hard time betting against Creighton.
No, he's sensational.
Like, I don't know. I've seen that dude or a version of that dude.
And it takes a grown-up.
Yes.
And Creighton he's got 4 years.
Yeah.
It takes a grown-up to play against this backcourt.
Like, I've seen a guy like that mold of a guy, carry his teams to national championships too many times.
So the funny thing is, unless you're playing Houston,
what's that?
What I think is really hard to match is not just the intensity, but how mean-spirited they are in doing it. Like Emmanuel Sharp is going to be a nightmare for Martin tonight.
He wants harm for you.
He just doesn't play nice. His dad seems certifiable. No disrespect, but his dad is intense. I mean, he claps like he's mad.
Coming up next, we're going to talk a little bit more college hoops with Matt Hladik from the Spun here on Hurrdat Sports Live. Hey everybody, it's Ravi Lulla from Hurrdat Sports here, and I'm reminding you to get down to Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill because Menu Madness Round 3 has already started. If you haven't been down here yet, make sure you get down and cast your vote because you can win $100 or $50 gift cards here from Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. So make sure you get down here, watch your teams, and vote to win.
To how big this sport is in this state. What's it like to see the community support Omaha and just the growth of women's sports?
Well, as an outsider that came to Omaha, this community is really special. And if you were to ask me what's a great place to try to start a thing like this, Omaha would be the first name that came to mind. We rally so well, we support our community, and then this is extremely competitive volleyball. I mean, it's fun to watch as a professional athlete myself to come here and see top-notch volleyball. I'm super happy that we have it here.
So what you're saying is Omaha may need a professional football team.
Hey, I'm all in. If you know the right people, let's do it. I'll come back home.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
They controlled the game in the first half. You know, we stuck around and we were hanging in, but we kind of felt like we were getting knocked around a little bit. But we controlled the game in the second half. And you know, I thought after the first 2 minutes of the second half, we did that consistently. You know, and it was all three facets: defending, rebound, and take care of the ball.
We held them to 37% the second half. You know, and we held that team to 67 points. So that was a tempo we could live with. We could not win this game in the 80s.
Kicking off hour number 3 here on Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. We're joined now by Matt Hladik from the Spun. Talk a little college hoops. Matt, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great, guys. Always a pleasure to be on, and another championship Monday here.
Yeah, it's interesting. I got to backtrack a little, and I've had practice because I stumbled through it asking Ravi the question, but let me see if I can land the plane a little bit smoother with you. Given the outcomes of the two games down the stretch, which one do you think was most affected by the comeback team being most who they were?
I think the answer is obvious to me. I think it's Houston over Duke. I just think that
even though Duke had to kind of wet the bed a little bit too, as good as they were.
They did 100%. And I think that, you know, if you look at that last 2 or 3 minutes of the game, and I'm sure you as a UNC fan kind of enjoyed that. They had about 10 or 12 things go wrong in that last few minutes span. You know, forget about the fact that they were up 14 with 8 10 left or whatever. I'm just talking about after they took that 9-point lead, 64-55 on the flag 3, they had a whole bunch of things go wrong. And I think that Houston really, even though Duke blew some of that, Houston really affected the way they played because of the pressure. You knew that Houston, the full court pressure and how rattled Duke was getting the ball in bounds. And also the fact that Houston, we've seen this team, they are who they are at all times. And they are just going to keep coming. They're going to keep fighting. They're a tough team. And I think what struck me is that they really just kind of were who they were throughout that comeback. It wasn't like they went crazy offensively. Like, yes, they made some shots, but they kind of just played their game. It reminded me, brought back painful memories as a Rutgers alum of the comeback they had against Rutgers in the NCAA tournament a few years ago where they were down, I think, 8 with a few minutes left and came back. It was a similar thing. Like, they just kind of imposed their will on Duke. And I think that even though Duke gave away a lot of things, the fact that Houston, the way they hit the boards and got key offensive rebounds, the way they pressured the ball and forced key turnovers or just forced Duke to be rattled, the big block on Con Knippel's drive when instead of going from 6 to 8 with about 50 seconds left, which really it probably would have sealed the game at that
After
point.
they inexplicably let the clock run. I couldn't believe it. Like, oh, boy, they look like geniuses now.
I know. Yeah. I was watching that thinking, wow, this is playing right into Duke's hands. But I mean, they were able to just really do what they did. And I think that it was a testament to their program. And listen, for years now, they've heard that they can't, win the big game or win a championship or there's a ceiling on how far they can go. And even the last time I spoke with you guys a month ago or so, I was questioning how deep they could get in the tournament if they had 6 games in them to win playing their style. And, that was a big question answered, I think, on Saturday night.
Because I convince you, and I'm going to ask a leading question and if you can fend it off, that Auburn only scoring 27 points in the second half, the fact that they turned the ball over ridiculously, the fact that their shot selection, we've seen in their losses, as much as Creighton put on his cape, man, when Auburn is bad, this is exactly what they look like, isn't it?
It is. And I think that there was a point early on in the second half where Auburn was up 49-40 and it was an inflection point. It could have gone either way, so to speak. And it looked like it was maybe going to get away from Florida or Auburn needed like one more punch to get up, 13, 14 points and really take control. And Florida ripped off a 9-0 run. And from that point forward, it was back and forth for a little bit. And then Florida just wore them out and was the better team down the stretch. So I think that we've seen Auburn, as talented as they are, as many games they won, as many high-quality opponents as they beat. When they lost games, like you said, there were instances where they didn't look good at all. They didn't look sharp at all. And
It's
that's
exactly what they look like.
Yeah.
I'm like, have they not learned anything? the slow starts in the second half, the being careless with the ball, their shot selection, I get it. It's who they are. But at some point, it's like, hey, guys, just get a good one. You can get one. If you're patient, you can get one. It doesn't have to be the first contested spectacular shot,
For sure. And I think that that's one of the things that if you're an Auburn fan, you're probably looking back at that game on Saturday and that's what's going to stick, in your mind for this offseason. I think going ahead, because this is one of the best teams they've ever had and was their best chance to win a title.
Matt, as you look at these two teams we have left in Florida and Houston, I know we sometimes maybe the only critique of the NCAA tournament for most people is that you feel like you don't always get the two best teams. It kind of feels like we did this year. Like it seems like they kind of got it right.
For sure. And I think that this is only the second time all 4 1 seeds got to the Final Four. And I thought that this was the ultimate rarity because it really felt like for a lot of, the last, I'm going to say maybe month of the regular season or so, that those were the 4 best teams. They were the 4 1 seeds, and they were head and shoulders above or clearly above the next group of teams. Because if you look at the other 2 seeds, like Auburn was clearly better than Michigan State. Houston handled Tennessee. Duke handled Alabama. So this was your top 4 teams. So I think that is a rarity, and that's why we got 2 great games on Saturday. And I think that obviously Duke or Auburn could have won the other night, and Duke came in as the top team in KenPom, whereas Houston and Florida 2-3. I think Florida was 2, Houston 3, however it broke down. But I think, if these aren't the top 2 teams, they're 2 and 3 or something like that. So I think you got a classic matchup tonight potentially.
Let me go back before we cap this, and I want to talk about some guys in the portal for a second, Matt.
There's a lot of them.
Were you surprised that even you mentioned the 3 with the little dribble handoff and the little pin step back for flag, where they finally initiated getting him a shot where he didn't have to handle the ball? Do you look at what was going on with Duke offensively and you think to yourself, you didn't have any other options with offensively than other when flag has to initiate the offense?
Well,
that was a great look.
It was a great look, and I thought
the last good possession they had.
Really, yeah. And to me, I think that they made it work all year because they had a lot of talent offensively. But the one kind of glaring spot that this team was missing was a true point guard. They had a couple of different guys that could handle the ball and could kind of initiate the offense in certain, throughout the game. But I'm talking about a guy like a Walter Creighton, like an LJ Cryer, that you kind of give the ball to when you need a play, or if your team's in it deep at the end of the game, and you can turn to this guy and say, "Hey, we trust you to have the ball in your hands, make the right read, make the right play." Cooper Flagg was that guy. We saw it in the Sweet 16 against Arizona. When Arizona made that run in the second half, they were just giving the ball to Flagg and having him handle the ball, bring it up court. That's what they went to. And I think the other thing that concerned me about Duke going into the ACC tournament, and this concern was a little bit alleviated when they won without Flagg, is that the 3 close games, truly close games they played during the regular season, they lost all of them. They lost to Kansas, Kentucky, and Clemson, and it came down to the final possession or 2. And I think that's what you saw the other night. Now, listen, should it have come down to that? No, they should have been able to close that out. But when it did come down to that, they kind of, John Shire froze up a little bit, maybe, so to speak, and said, "Hey, Cooper Flagg, go bail us out, make a play." And it's tough to do that as talented as he is, when you're a wing trying to drive and everyone knows that you are the guy. So I do think that I would expect Duke next year. I think that John Shire made a lot of adjustments between year 2 and 3 in terms of how he built the roster, and a lot of them worked. But I think next year, I would be shocked if there isn't a true kind of point guard, creator, facilitator on that roster.
I want to go to tonight because, and this isn't just because I picked Houston to win it, because I was on Florida all year until everybody else was. And then I told Ravi I was going to pout, and I'm just going to take a different team now. I hope, And so saying all that, I look at this as Houston will have the ability to bully Florida's front court. They are a little finesse. They're pretty interchangeable. I understand that, but I don't know if Florida's front line can match Houston's energy in the paint. How much will a guy like Creighton, given how Houston plays, how much will they be able to offset that, or will it be a factor at all? If you think I'm right.
Well, I think that Creighton obviously is the fulcrum of that offense, and he's going to have another big game tonight for them to win. But I think you'll see whether it's an Elijah Martin, whether it's a Denzel Aberdeen off the bench, you're going to need to see, I think, another perimeter option or two step up to alleviate some of the pressure on Creighton because, like you said, I do think as talented as Florida's front court is and as interchangeable as you said they are, and they got some guys that can shoot and they got some guys that can make plays, Houston should have the advantage in terms of physicality.
Yeah, they're going to have to track down a lot of loose balls.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's how they like to play.
And I know that Florida has played the best of the best in terms of athletes and in terms of teams coming out of the SEC and even just beating Auburn on Saturday night. But Houston's a different animal. I mean, I think I saw a stat. I can't remember the exact time, but Cooper Flagg grabbed a rebound with like 4 something left on the clock the other night, and it was the last live ball rebound Duke had for the whole game.
I thought the possession of the game,
Mm-hmm.
I told this to Ravi, Duke was up 9. Houston had the ball. They got 4 consecutive offensive rebounds.
Yes.
And they made the 3 at like 2:59 or something like that.
Yep.
And I'm like, that was the most Houston thing I've ever seen, where they just beat everybody to the ball, got another shot, beat you to the ball, got another shot.
Mm-hmm.
And even on the putback dunk, it was another effort play when they took the lead. I was like, this is just what they do.
Mm-hmm.
It's just hard to simulate that unless you play that way.
It is. It's hard to simulate that pressure. It's hard to simulate the way they attack the glass because, like you said, Duke, everyone talks about the turnover on the inbounds pass, and it was bad. But if Duke grabs that defensive rebound, they escape because they missed the tying 3. Mm-hmm. But instead, you get the putback dunk, and now the pressure is even more amplified, and it leads to like the last stages of the collapse. So it's going to be interesting to see how Florida handles that because Houston is rugged. They have obviously Juwan Roberts is the main guy there, but they have Francis, and they all attack the rim. They all go and go after the ball. Arsenault, all those guys. It'll be interesting.
We're talking with Matt Hladik from the Spun. Matt, it sounds like you're leaning Houston here. Is that an accurate read?
Actually, the slight opposite. I'm leaning Florida in a close one. I think that Creighton and I think their offense might be the difference. I'm kind of going with the trend here. The numbers, I'll tell you, I could cite where I found it. It was in the New York Post, like a betting column over the weekend. I can't remember the exact numbers, but if anyone listening wants to check it out, they can. That's where they can find it.
Only about 12,000 streaming right now, so somebody's going to look it up.
Yep. Excuse me. The record of the teams that beat Duke in the last like 20 years in the NCAA tournament, their record in their next game is bad. It's not good. Okay. And some of that, I think, is the natural explanation is a couple of times Duke got picked off early. So maybe it's a team that, played the game of its life and they don't have anything left the next game. Other times, winning a game of that magnitude does take a lot out of you. Houston has the type of talent and the type of, I think, hungriness and the type of grit and culture to avoid that letdown. But I think that when you kind of combine all they had to do to win on Saturday with the fact that Florida has shown that championship medal, outlasting UConn and Texas Tech and Auburn, and they have I think the X factor in Creighton. I'm taking Creighton to be the best of those guards tonight in terms of him and Cryer and Sharp. I think Florida wins by a possession.
Let me ask you, a couple guys flying under the radar. Not flying under the radar, but the signings happen the verbals happen so quick. Gillespie just yesterday. I didn't love the Tennessee thing because I feel like he needs a certain offense, but Jacoby Gillespie's a guy that I think the world of watching him in the Big Ten. And then Cadeau going to Michigan when I've been so tough on Michigan's backcourt on why they couldn't get over the hump. It's guys like that I'm thinking that handled the ball. Are there guards? You can start with those two. Or is there anybody that's changed addresses that gets the ball handler or decision maker that you think changes the way or the trajectory of how that team can play?
I think one thing you mentioned that interesting is how guys just, spots just are interchangeable. Like Trey Donaldson is gone and they bring in, Elliot Cadeau. Like, it's just like, 1 4 or 5-star recruit or transferred in from a big program. He leaves to go again. And now you bring in, another guy in that mold. Cadeau will be interesting because of, he's not a great shooter. But I do think the facilitating aspect of it for Michigan will be a plus, especially with some of the other guys they brought in, Morris Johnson and I screw up his name. The kid from UAB, not Luxembourg. It's I mess his name up, but he's one of the top players in the portal.
Gams, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And another guy I think that could really be a factor. Yaxel Lendenborg is the name of the guy I'm thinking of as transferring to Michigan. But Donovan Dent, I think, can make a massive impact, a game changer at UCLA, because this guy is one of the top. When he entered the portal, he might have been the top player in the portal. And
he gives him a bucket getter now too. Yes,
that he is a true bucket getter in the backcourt. I think kind of changes the calculus a little bit for Mick Cronin's teams. And that type of guard in the Big Ten too, you don't always get that. So I think that he could be a real factor. You're talking about a guy who has the ball, high usage, but could score, get buckets, could distribute, really efficient.
What about guys kind of flying under the radar? We like McCollum going to Iowa. I actually thought with that hire, there could be a chance that I never thought that they were going to get Freeman back, but I thought Dix and Sanford were interesting. They both wind up a state over, one at Creighton, one at Nebraska. Start there with kind of those guys in the Big Ten that changed addresses that you think can really help with Price and Josh.
Yeah, I think that they fit in really well with what those two programs want to do in terms of being multi-talented and multifaceted offensively and shooting the ball. I think that just briefly going back to Iowa, I think the Ben McCollum hire is a great hire. I think that he'll play a different offensive style than Fran McCaffrey, but you'll get that good offense. You'll get efficient offense. And I think he'll be an excellent fit at Iowa. But getting back to those other two guys, I think that, Josh Dix was one of the top shooters in the portal, one of the top, I think, offensive wings in the portal. And Bryce Sanford is the type of kid who those type of wings usually seem to make a jump at Iowa, after like a year or two. And this is a kid who made that jump into his sophomore year, and I think could take another leap going into his junior year at Nebraska, where, listen, we know Fred Hoiberg is an excellent offensive coach. We know he's going to get opportunities for his guys to shoot, opportunities for his guys to score. I think he's a good fit there.
Okay, let me jump. I'll get you out on this last one from me. I'm looking at like Hopkins going to St. John, which I thought was huge. I do think Pitino will rebuild on the fly, but I also like Graves, Jason Green, Zugic, Owen Freeman. Like they've been able to rebuild nicely. When you're looking at the Big East, and who knows what's going to finish happening with UConn, but it seems like with the coaching prowess in the Big East and how talent is starting to gravitate towards the Big East, and we'll see what happens with the revenue spending. Is it a short-term fix without football money or not? But it seems like there's been a little shift in the Big East in terms of its profile playing with the big boys.
I think that it's very interesting to follow because I think the first point, like you said, is the coaches and the
they got fellas over there.
They do. I mean, you're talking about a guy who just won 2 back-to-back national championships in Dan Hurley. You're talking about Rick Pitino, who was an all-time great and has completely revamped St. John's in 2 years. Shaka Smart's been to a Final Four.
To make the case, Mac is top 10 in the country.
Yes. I mean, his record speaks for itself. I mean, they lost Sean Miller, but then you get a Richard Pitino. Kevin Willard getting back to the Big East at Nova could make it very interesting. And then that's without even getting into, your Chris Holtmans and your Ed Cooley's and guys that have been there a long time, been around the game a long time, not necessarily been at their schools a long time. But it's a loaded conference from a coach's perspective. And I think that drives some of the narratives, drives some of the, the intrigue throughout the season. And I am fascinated to see how, because we know the resources St. John's has with Mike Rapoli. We know the resources that UConn has with it basketball being king and queen of that school, men's and women's. But how does this revenue sharing help some of these other programs that don't have to deal with football? And like you said, is it something that becomes a long-term thing where you see a little bit of a balance of power shift?
On the surface, in the short term, it seems like a good thing.
It does. I would agree for
I don't know
sure.
how sustainable it's going to be.
Right, because I mean, you just look at how the landscape of NIL and how everything's changed in the last 2 years. We don't even know what 2 years from now could look like. But I think that for now, in the short term, it's a good thing for the Big East. And I think that the Big East in the last, say, 10 years or so, I think one of its issues is that they've had some outstanding, all-time great championship teams, especially with that second Nova team, last year's UConn team. But they seem to the mantle's been carried by whoever is, the top flight program. Not that there haven't been other good programs, but it's not like, you have two Final Four team and 2 other Elite 8 teams, or, 5 teams in the Sweet 16 or something like that, like a big year like that. And I think that this revenue sharing and this sort of burst of coaches coming in with the cachet that they have could deliver the Big East to take that step up.
That's Matt Hladik from the Spun. Last chance to change your mind. Florida by a bucket tonight?
Yeah, I'll go Florida 72-69.
There you go.
That's going to be about right, too. I like the total. That's pretty good. I'll take the other team, though.
That's Matt Hladik from the Spun. Matt, we appreciate it. As always, enjoy the game tonight.
Thanks, Matt.
You too, guys. Always a pleasure.
Our guy, Kenny Pomeroy's got it 72-71.
Who?
I believe Houston. Let me double check here.
I said 71-70.
I mean, you're all in the neighborhood there. Yeah, he's got Houston by a point. So he's 2.5 away from the line. So that's starting to get into that.
I got 135.
Interesting zone.
For the total?
Yeah.
That's not terrible.
135. Yeah, it might be a touch high.
Yeah.
Or maybe, no, 72-71 would be 143. So that's
touch low.
He's in the neighborhood.
In the neighborhood.
I wish I was in the position for it to come down to a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody is.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't climb too far up the list. Too many Florida honks.
I should, since I couldn't win it, I should talk Sasha and those guys into the fact, since they're not listening to me right now, that I knew I couldn't win as an employee.
Yeah.
So if I get second, I still get the gift card to the restaurant?
Might be able to get you a couple free meals. We'll see what we can do.
Man, it's good food. I didn't eat a ton this weekend either.
Yeah, you were moving around too much.
Yeah. Well, that's part of it. moving target.
All around the place, man.
It's where the magic happens, right?
Well, we're out here.
I left for Lincoln Saturday at
We're out.
a little later than I wanted to, but 7:10.
Oof. Long day.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
So I spent yesterday a little bit of the morning early going back to watch the last. I bet I watched the last 7 minutes of Duke Houston.
Yeah.
3 times.
I watched.
Because I didn't know which point may come up.
Yeah.
Because there were several key things
Like inflection points.
that I think were all bigger than the foul call on Cooper Flag.
Yeah, I mean that's the easy one to point to, but there were. I mean, I go to inbound basketball. You gotta be able to inbound the basketball.
Make the front end of a 1-to-1.
Yeah.
Which one do you think's easier?
Should be easier to inbound basketball. I understand pressure in that spot if you're not a good free throw shooter. Like it's easy to be like, oh, just make the front end.
So when they took the first time out and they got the mulligan, did you think they would use somebody other than Zion James?
I thought they might. A lot of times you'll see that
somebody
if
a little height.
Yeah, maybe a little height, or that is just different. It seemed like James was a little uncomfortable in that position.
Yeah.
So even if you're like, hey, typically he's a better passer or he's got enough size or whatever, sometimes you just need to put somebody else in there.
Like Kadari Richmond inbouncing for St. John?
Yeah, a little bit.
I was giving you the real-time play-by-play. I said, let's not act like – remember that?
Yeah.
I pay attention to stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes being a good inbouncer is having the courage
to just throw the ball.
To let it go.
Yeah. Because there were times
–
where Zion James needed to let the ball go, and he didn't. You're almost – it's kind of like being a quarterback. You get a little too precious with it. Sometimes you got to let it rip.
Yep.
Coming up next, let's make our picks, our official picks.
You got it, man.
Do a little bet on it. Maybe you got a little baseball for us too. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see what we got into. That's DB.
Talk
I'm Ravi
slow.
Lulla. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
You've talked about how you've had the most fun you've ever had coaching in these past couple of years. Was there any part of this past season that you thought to yourself, I could retire or this could be it?
Yeah, I had a moment when we were at Wisconsin. It kind of hit me there. I started thinking about it. I actually had a talk with Lindsay. Lindsay and I kind of hang out usually after pregame meal before a match, and I just told her, I said, I don't know, I'm just having this feeling like, this is, what else is there to do? We can win the Big Ten, we can win a national championship, but other than that, it's starting to feel like we just kind of had a conversation, and that's where the first seed was planted.
Mm-hmm. What were some of those signs along the way? I know you've talked about some, but any in your mind, maybe with your family, that you knew, okay, this is the time?
One, the fact Lauren's getting ready to have another baby, and I got a 4-year-old granddaughter asking me where I'm at, why am I not there with them? That kind of hit. And then there was a series of things that happened. Some of it was with Danny in Louisville, because we started talking over Christmas a little bit, and then there was just signs that happened. People I talked to, and some of my people that I'm really close with, I asked them about retirement and what's it like and how do you know when, and I had just had all these signs going, and then the final one was
Give me that jet, I make
Mizuno and Oklahoma State softball story is a story of growth and success. After getting to visit the team this fall and watching practice and talking with Coach G, I am confident in this team this year.
The best you is really dang good. I mean, it's really good. Okay? So just be that. No more, no less.
Lightning in my fingers, and I'm nice on my feet. Heavyweight big swinger, got you saying double while we're counting to three.
Mizuno and Oklahoma State softball are built for big moments.
Brace yourself.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Hey everybody, it's Ravi Lulla from Hurrdat Sports here, and I'm reminding you to get down to Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill because Menu Madness Round 3 has already started. If you haven't been down here yet, make sure you get down and cast your vote because you can win $100 or $50 gift cards here from Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. So make sure you get down here, watch your teams, and vote to win.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, reminding you that there's always something more you can learn about finances, no matter what your goals are. Buying a home, saving for something special, or just working on a budget. Centris Federal Credit Union makes learning about these things so much easier and, dare I say, maybe even enjoyable. They've got an online financial education center which helps to enrich by offering free tools and resources to their members. It's centrisfcu.enrich.org to start enriching your financial goals and your financial knowledge. Federally insured by NCUA. It's centrisfcu.enrich.org. DB.
Yes, indeed.
Might try and enrich myself with a couple bets tonight.
Am I talking you into? I don't want to talk you into anything.
No, I'm saying
because these
Florida.
are the two teams that I said all year. So this is not Rockets. This isn't the newsflash.
I'm staying on Florida.
Although you will give me credit that I like Houston more than most.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All year, and then you switch late because too many people like Florida. But you've been on Houston for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, I don't particularly.
You don't like the way they play?
Yes, it's an aesthetic thing
I
for
know.
me. That's why I will go Florida over Houston.
But can I just say something?
Yeah.
They do shoot it better than you act.
No, it's not just okay. So it's not just the shot making that helps.
The freedom of movement.
Yeah, but I need it's the way the shots happen. It's the way they don't allow. And again, it works. So I'm not, hear me out here. You win how you win. It's fine. But in terms of just watching and for my enjoyment, they make games uglier than I like to watch.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I've been there.
I would have loved to have watched a Florida Duke game. That would have been just pure joy from a basketball watching standpoint. These are probably the two better teams, right? So I don't have a problem with it. And I do like, despite not really liking stylistically, Kelvin Sampson's getting a little Andy Reid-y in my head in terms of I'd like him to get a championship.
Okay. You were like that with Reid?
Oh, yeah. That was the only, This was what 5 years ago now when San Francisco lost that Super Bowl to Reed for their first one. But as upset as I was that San Francisco didn't win, I was genuinely happy for Andy Reid. Like I like that dude a lot. I think he was way too good of a coach not to have a Super Bowl. And I didn't like the way he got talked about for not having a Super Bowl. That's as much as it is anything else. And I do think for the way that Kelvin Sampson got sort of railroaded with the Indiana situation, and we were
over some phone calls,
over text messages.
Yeah, that's
it was legal like 6 months later. And listen, I get you play by the rules.
Maybe that's why he's mad.
It could be. I'd be mad still. I kind of am on his behalf, honestly. Like, this is a thing that, first of all, and I understand everybody doing it's not a good reason, but it's weird to single out one guy when it is a widespread issue, right? It's
everybody.
It's weird. It feels sort of vigilante-y.
Do you like Trev's guy that he got?
We needed to do something.
That's not Chris Beard.
Wow.
Could be a good thing. Who knows?
Wow.
I'm just saying.
You're not even in on Beard.
I'm not, but when you take a swing like Beard to end up with the SoCon Coach of the Year feels a little different. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Might be his kind of guy, though.
Just might be a little different. That's all I know. Wonder how A&M fans are feeling this morning.
You know, Trev still has a chance to give us one of our greatest gifts.
What's that?
Coach Rule.
Well, I was gonna say Dannon.
A lot of great ones don't have a whole lot of hobbies.
Touche.
That's
wow.
fun.
I should have seen that one coming.
No, I mean you're right. Like I have to give. That's
wow, so childish.
I have to give Trev credit for bringing us Coach Rule.
Yeah,
I do. You know, that's probably the best thing he did here.
Are you so stylistically, what's the total tonight?
140.5.
And the hook, so 70 is about right.
70, 69, 71, 70.
Man, I don't know.
Ken Palm has 72, 71, so that'd be a slight over.
I think Elijah Martin's going to have to be big. He's my X factor.
Because
I think they both really only want to play 8.
I'd say so.
And Arsenault is probably the last at a good 7. No, I mean, Houston can play 8. They will play 8.
Can Condon be good enough? Like, if Condon's good,
so
does that change things?
He's got such a tough defensive matchup.
Yeah. But like, if he finds a way to be good tonight, does that change how you feel?
Yes.
Yeah.
They need to find some easy points.
Yeah. Because for all of Clayton's accolades, that's a tough way to live, is to ask him to make.
Watch how Houston can scramble and recover.
Oh, I know.
You just don't get a lot of free-flowing, good open looks.
Yeah, they don't. Easy buckets are not a thing that Houston gives up a lot of.
Something to keep an eye on is you got to keep Florida off the foul line. I mean, they shot 30 free throws the other night against Auburn.
Yeah.
Now, I think they only made 20 or 21 of them, but I mean 21 of 30, because I think that's what it was. It's still too many. Still too many free throws. So you got to keep the Gators off the foul line.
And Houston's a little middle of the pack in terms of putting people on the foul line. So that could be an interesting place where Florida, like if you're talking about easy points and you can't get it within the flow of the offense, that might be the place where you're getting your easy points.
And there'll be some tough shots made.
Yeah.
Because it's not gonna come easy, but we did get a little bit of an earlier start time. They moved it up half an hour? Is it 7:50? It's still too late.
So it is
7:50 is too late on a Monday night.
Yeah. So we're out here. We'll be out here.
Yeah.
Doing a little late night. Better than the 8:30. The 8:30 was terrible.
It's bad.
Or 8:20, whatever it was.
It's bad.
We're out.
Awful.
Yeah, we are out here.
I mean, 7:30 is about as late as it needs to be. I prefer a 7.
So you're looking at what? 10:45 for
One
the ball is
shining
tipped.
moment?
Yeah.
The ball is tipped.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're gonna have a lot of post game, on court, whatever. I don't understand.
Do you like the Hill Raftery Eagle?
It's not bad. I don't have a problem with it.
I think Iron Eagle gets a lot of hate. He doesn't bother me too much.
No, it doesn't bother me. I don't have a problem with him.
I mean, clearly Raftery's lost his fastball, but I'm not crying over
He's
that.
still fun. I mean, like I like hearing him, even if he's not the guy he used to be.
Yeah.
Like there's a sort of a nostalgia to it.
Everybody likes to hear straight up man to man, right?
Coming out in the Miniman.
Getting the puppies organized.
With a little kiss.
Hey, can I ask you something real quick about hoops?
Yeah.
How I asked you Friday, did the tournament final change? How quickly did Bryce move to the #1 pick for you in Nebraska basketball?
Ooh, like
still behind Lou.
Like history?
Is he a top 3 pick now?
So Lou's 1.
Is he?
For me. I'll take
I thought you'd go with a shooter like Pike.
So I think Pikowski's 2 for me. I like Lou.
Would you still play through the post and go get Hoppin?
I don't know. I didn't see Hoppin really, so it's hard for me.
And you know that you have to kind of guard 1 through 5 now too.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard for me to put too much stock there, even though I know he was great and the numbers are incredible. I probably go Lou, Pikowski, then Williams. But I'm not going to fight you over 2 and 3. I probably would fight you over Lou at 1.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think greater team success, and I'll take the point guard. Like I'll take the point guard.
Bryce
he's really good. He's really, really good.
He's really good. And you know what else I feel good about?
What's that?
And I may not be right, but I'm closer to being right in that discussion. When we were talking about pro prospect. Right? And I was having to kind of con you into it.
I still don't think he gets drafted.
No, I imagine you'll hold your ground.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's a guy
because he's not elite level enough of a ball handler
or an athlete.
I think he's better than you think.
So
and he's bigger than you think.
He's big, so that helps him a lot. Being 6'7" helps him a lot, right? If he's a real 6'7", that helps a lot.
And all he's gonna do is get in the gym.
That's fine. But if you're not an elite as a wing in the NBA, if you're not an elite level ball handler so you can shot create, or an elite level athlete, you're going to have a little bit harder of a time because he's not an elite level shooter. Good shooter. Good shooter, not an elite shooter.
His mid-range game is pretty elite.
His mid-range game is very good, but that's also the thing the NBA cares about the least.
Well, I don't know now. Like, yes and no. You get a ton more threes, but I'm telling you, guys like DeMar DeRozan have made a living.
They have, but there's a reason we remember DeMar DeRozan. He's a one-off mostly in the NBA at this point.
I don't know.
Like, there's not a lot of
There's
them.
another good guy named Kawhi Leonard that's made a really good living with a mid-range game.
And he also learned how to shoot the ball at a high level from three-point range, and he gets to when he at his prime, he was getting
You
to the
don't
hoop
think
at will.
Kawhi Leonard three-point shooting?
I do think Kawhi Leonard getting downhill.
What do you think Kawhi Leonard shoots from 3 in his career?
37.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to take the under because that sounds high.
I think it's higher than you think.
You're probably right.
I would say, but here's my point about Bryce: is he's good at a lot of things. The thing that he's best at is probably the least high priority for most NBA teams, and that's the mid-range game. He's a good, not elite athlete. He's a good, not elite ball handler. He's a good, not elite shot creator. He's a good, not elite shooter.
Wow, that's pretty good.
37?
9.
39? Yeah, he's better than we think. I think he's a good shooter.
Ooh. 9.
So
that doesn't shoot a ton, but
no, but he makes them.
Yeah.
And his prime, he was getting downhill a lot and getting to the free throw line a lot too. So I look at Bryce and I go, okay, a couple of those things, because I don't think he's a bad athlete. I'm not knocking him, but we see what crazy NBA wings are like, right? He's not in that.
You just don't think he can.
So I don't think he's going to get athletic enough, more athletic. I'm not enough more athletic. There we go. To bridge that gap, but he could. Ball handling and shooting are on the table.
What about better pro comp than Roby or worse?
Ooh, probably better.
Banton, better or worse?
I'm going to say a little worse because Banton had a unique skill set for his size.
His length, you mean? His arms?
Yeah. And being 6'9", kind of almost a true point. Like that was a unique skill set. Bryce, there's more guys like Bryce, so he's going to have to stand out in Now, I do think his offensive game is much more polished than Roby's.
It is way good.
Even though Roby was probably a better athlete coming out, right? So Bryce is going to he's got opportunities because you can become a better ball handler. Like, that's on the table. His mid-range game is good enough. I could see him becoming a good enough shooter with the ball handling to be able to make his way in the league. But I do think there's work to be done. He feels like a guy that's going to have to work the long way through. But there's a lot of good 6'7" wings. That's the problem. Like, he's not really unique.
He's awful efficient, though.
Sure, yeah. But there's a lot of really good wing scorers. That's kind of my point. Like, he's at a position of abundance. And there's not one specific thing that makes him stand out in a way that you're like, that's where he's going to make his money.
I have a feeling we're going to revisit this, and I think you're going to be surprised.
Listen, I hope.
It's primarily, and not that I'm overly disagreeing with any one facet. I think the ability for you to come across as though you're kind of capping it is where I'm going to disagree. He's about to go get in the lab.
So
he is about to go get.
I don't think he's a finished product. Physically, he might be, but skill set wise, I'm not saying he's a finished product. And I'm not going to dismiss the fact that being really good at everything might be good enough.
Yep.
But typically,
deceptively good defender.
Typically in the NBA,
good length.
You have to have an elite skill to stick. Typically. If you don't have one elite,
I'll say elite measurables. I don't know. I've seen some guys without an elite skill.
So, okay, you have to have an elite attribute, whether that's a measurable or a skill.
All right, I'll take it.
So attribute is what I mean.
I'll take it.
If you don't have an elite attribute, it's really hard to stick in the NBA. That's where I'm a little hesitant, but maybe being very good across the board is good enough. That's what I don't know. Because he is, I think, very good across the board, which is unusual.
Shane, let's take a quick break. I'll see. Do you want something other than basketball?
We can do whatever.
All right.
We're out here, right?
I got you.
That's where the magic happens. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We'll wrap up the show next here on Hurrdat Sports Live. Hey everybody, it's Ravi Lulla from Hurrdat Sports here, and I'm reminding you to get down to Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill because Menu Madness Round 3 has already started. If you haven't been down here yet, make sure you get down and cast your vote because you can win $100 or $50 gift cards here from Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. So make sure you get down here, watch your teams, and vote to win.
To how big this sport is in this state. What's it like to see the community support Omaha and just the growth of women's sports?
Well, you know, as an outsider that came to Omaha, this community is really special. And if you were to ask me what's a great place to try to start a thing like this, Omaha would be the first name that came to mind. We rally so well, we support our community, and then this is extremely competitive volleyball. I mean, it's fun to watch as a professional athlete myself to come here and see top-notch volleyball. I'm super happy that we have it here.
So what you're saying is Omaha may need a professional football team.
Hey, I'm all in. If you know the right people, let's do it. I'll come back home.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
I'm going to try to force it to him if he's open. Here is Ovechkin. Shoots. He scored. He scored. Number 895.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla. There was a lot to get to today, including some coach rule, which we will return with tomorrow.
There's so much.
There's a lot going on, a lot of basketball, some championships.
My man spoke on Deshaun Singleton, playing on scout team.
Down a wide receiver.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm one and done, though, I think.
Little tidbit, most of you know that listen to me a lot.
Yeah.
If I don't talk about a guy,
it's a good chance.
Probably not much to talk about.
Good reason for that.
Right? Whether it's, Malachi Coleman, whether it's Hartley Gilmore, whether it's player X. If I don't openly bring them up, there's probably something to it, which is
good to see everybody.
Which is unfortunate. Hopefully, wishing Hartley the best.
Yeah.
And I had to listen to all the dumb jokes this weekend.
Hartley Gilmore hardly knew you.
Yeah, it's sad, right? You want people to flourish.
Yeah, no, I hope he finds a landing spot and a place that's a good fit for him, and wish him nothing but the best. But obviously, this wasn't the place.
I did my best, but I guess my best wasn't good.
I will say I do feel for him a little bit. He's just so young.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing.
Like he's so young
across the board.
Yeah. So
he's young for his grade.
Yeah, and then he reclassified also, right? So he's got probably some maturing to do, but you hope that this doesn't derail him in his future, and so you hope he finds a nice place to land. But it is tough when you're like the age thing. I don't know why, it gets me a little bit. Like it's a lot for a kid.
Tugs at the old heartstrings.
I don't know if I have any of those.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Did you visit the Wiz?
Finally got the Tin Man finally got a heart.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Listen, just because I don't want to deal with them doesn't mean I don't care about them.
It's all in the terminology.
Exactly. As long as there's somebody else's problem, I want the best for them.
Yeah, I liked his stuff on because it was kind of unsolicited when he was talking about the improvement of the O-line. But I think another one, and it was a little long. But were you vibing with it's not his program anymore? It's kind of chunky. I want to get into that tomorrow.
We will for sure. I don't know. There's a lot in there, and I don't know totally if I buy it.
Does it seem early for the handoff, or he thinks he's ready?
It seems early. It feels early to me.
So not so much from the player standpoint,
yeah,
which is kind of what he was talking about. But I would have the coaches are still coming together too.
Yeah, it's a new staff this year for the most part.
Although they spent most of their time with each other at the clinic.
Now a highly experienced staff.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have. That's kind of the big difference between the first iteration and the second, right? Is you had a lot of younger guys stepping into roles that maybe they hadn't had before. Even Tony White didn't have a ton of track record as a defensive coordinator. Obviously, Garrett McGuire. But you had Dvorak was a young guy.
Speaking of which, so he and Snow both sat in on Coach Butler's install, player packages and simulated pressures.
Yeah.
Which lets me know. I mean, both had, Coach Braden was in there too. He had his iPad. One guy has his notebook. And the other two had notebooks. So I'm like, okay, they're still learning. I like stuff like that.
Yeah.
When other coaches spend the time, because that could be some downtime. I mean, the sessions are kind of long.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could go get some other work done, but they're
dialed in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It feels a little premature to be like, but
premature stipulation.
Yeah, you never know. Feels a little premature on the handover, but maybe there's dynamics at play there that I'm not aware of. That's certainly possible.
I would take that Indiana game and just flush it down the toilet.
Flush it.
We need a toilet sound emoji.
Just flush it.
For most of Ravi's takes too.
I'm surprised you don't have one, Shane. That seems like a Shane type of noise effect.
Yeah. Most definitely like
a toilet flushing emoji.
Seems like he's got not an emoji.
I mean, whatever you call them.
Yeah, a little sound effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Pressing.
Awesome.
No, I'm excited to dive into Coach Rule's stuff.
Shane, don't forget we need a golf guy.
Oh yeah, Masters this week.
Yeah, Coach P in DSU. He was talking about wanting to do everything with excellence and to be excited to do it.
Yeah.
But he's a big golf guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm on my 8-bet. Yeah.
And he's like, my wife, he's got this great voice. Mm-hmm. My wife's gonna, want me. I'm gonna have my honey-do list but the Masters is on. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna press record on the Masters and I'm gonna go attack that yard. It was just funny. I was like, oh, well played.
I mean,
for sure.
I can't imagine the yards in North Dakota are any greener than they are here.
I mean,
now.
he's yoked. He's like a little squatty body. I have got to see that dude swing a club.
He could probably wait another week on the yard.
You'd think
You
is
think?
the Masters.
I mean,
I'm usually at some summer basketball tournament in KC. So
yeah, what are you gonna do now?
Watch the Masters. I remember I listened to Tiger Woods win on the air. Coming back on a Sunday, 19? 19?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was his last one at Augusta, which seems like eons ago.
6 years.
Yeah.
It gets away from you.
So that is what it is. It's the power of satellite. Dave Matthews.
I thought you were doing like a.
Nope, I have to tell you now because you always pick the wrong version of the song that I'm doing.
I do. I thought you were going POD on me.
Who?
POD?
Who were they?
You don't remember them?
POD?
POD. POD. It's a band, early 2000s.
Man.
That is not called Satellite. I think their album was called Satellite, actually.
POD.
They had a lot. Yo, I bet you know Youth of the Nation. We are Youth of the Nation. Do you know that one?
I don't think so.
That seems right up your alley.
Yeah, probably not. I thought I only like ballads.
It's a little ballady.
Yeah. So I'm going to take your 1.5.
Okay, you're going to take my 1.5.
Only because I get movement in case Florida wins by 1.
Whatever. It's fine.
Even though I think Houston wins.
I'll say you think Houston wins outright.
Well, it's only 1.5, so it's not.
Yeah, just take the money line. Get a little plus. Get you a little
That's
plus
trickle
money.
down effect.
I like insurance because I could see it being a 1-point game.
Get you a little plus money.
I like insurance.
Yeah.
But I'll give you another one with my man John Tallman's Rangers.
Okay.
Going to Chi-Town, taking on the Cubs.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Evaldi versus Steele.
Ooh, okay. Love me some Nathan Evaldi.
Give me Steele.
All right, hater.
Take the Cubs at the house. Might be a little too cool for the old Rangers out there at Wrigley.
Speaking of the Cubs, have you heard from Burrs? Is he alive?
I think he's alive.
Okay, good.
Made it back. He has very few guts.
Back to back.
Very few guts left.
Was he sick the whole trip?
No.
Okay.
He shook it off.
He shorted up.
He's competitive too, so he'll rally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hit that pep
I don't think he ate as well as he normally does when he's there. They normally hit a couple good spots, so he had to chill, but
hit that Pepto and kept on pushing.
What did he eat?
We didn't get into it. Yeah. We had to have one. Anybody that's taken 4 chewables in 40 minutes, though, is asking for trouble.
Yeah. My man was probably backed up a little bit when he got home.
You have to go home and take just the opposite now.
I was going to say, got to find that balance,
Remember I got that 15-day cleanse?
You going to give something to him?
I was terrified to do it again. I'm not wasting another 3 hours in the middle of the night again.
3 hours?
2.
That's aggressive. Still.
Micah goes, who are you talking to? The gods.
Myself.
Help.
Somebody help.
Help. Or this famous one. I knew it. Why did I take it?
It's $1 million question. We'll be back tomorrow on Hurrdat Sports Live.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.